Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it. They haven't got it. He's on the outside line, though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and people of all ages, it is the return of the Virtual World Sports Car Championship 2025 Modern Series, and we are here at round 7. It is 60 laps of the Glen. Do I really need to tell you any more about this? No, you know the Glen. Everybody knows the Glen. If you've been in sim racing, if you've been in any form of game at all, yes, they are games, they're not simulators. It is, you all know the Watkins Glen. So let's move on now as well. We've got to kick through these sheets because there's quite a lot to contend with here as well. Let's have a look at the track. Well, it's 3.45 miles in length, 5.55 kilometers, and it was built in 1956. As you can see, we are not using the Lazy Man NASCAR version. Okay, we are going real world. We are going big boy version. And through the outer loop, we go down through chute 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Not very long whatsoever, but it's going to be a very interesting one as well. They're going to have to contend with some things. Let's go to the keys of the race. Well, one of the keys is beware of turn 9. Why turn 9? Well, it's an uphill off-camber braking, and trust me, if you get the accelerator just on the crest of the hill, your bum is coming round, so be aware on that. Brave the weather. Well, we won't spoil it. We'll have a chat about it with Mr. Ross Smith very, very shortly. Be best at the bus stop braking. Well, that's one thing they're going to have to look out for, because I can tell you what, if they're not going to hug the right-hand side as they go through the bus stop to get that run on the exit, is inches away from the barrier, they're definitely going to miss it. Let's go to the strategy corners of the GTs. Well, tyres. No, we're going to go hypercars instead. Tyres, medium and hards. The fuel, 2 times the limit, 20 and 24 minutes before a pit stop, 3 to 4 pit stops. Cars, V Series, 963 499P are the cars to beat. Very, very interesting indeed. Watch closing rates in Sector 1. Really use GTs to attack and defend. That Sector 1 runs up until the bus stop, of course. For the GTs, it's medium tyres. 2 times fuel, 30 to 35 minutes, and it's going to be 2 stops. AMG, Vantage, 296, and the 992. Again, keep the tyres cool for turn 1 if you can. Watch the bust stop, and turn 9 stiffer setup to attack there as well. Basically, it is all or nothing in the bus stop. If you get it wrong, you are completely in trouble. And if you miss up your entry, well, you're going to be in the wall. Let's pick up on the standings. We'll start off with the hypercars. Dan Kirby out in front with 175 points, with Danny Hurlock in second, Cameron Barker, Mike Bell, and Johnny Gutierrez. You can see the list of hypercars has grown, so there's a lot there, all right the way down to 21, which is wrapped up by Scarpote. CMS Pro Red, Kirby and Barker, 281. Smile Power Racing Cadillac, Mike Bell, Danny Hurlock. SKS Motorsport Toyota, well, we got Schultz, Suvak, and Dahlgren. They're in third, and then as you can see, all the other teams in behind them as well. In the Hypercar AMS, it's even going to be more interesting. John Mayer, Curie Mistral 963 Porsche ahead of his teammate Jerry Chen on 121 with Eric Monet on 108. Then Vinicius Concalves on 106. So you better hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to get spicy. Then everybody else in behind them there as well, as you can see, right the way down to 16th place of Stuart Barge. In the teams, the Curie Mistral Porsche out in front, and they are insurmountably out in front. They are miles out in front on 354. So I can't see anybody really catching them unless they have an absolute horrendous few races. Moving on, let's start down with the GT3s. On the left-hand side, JT Tammy out in front on 201, David Jean on 163, and Alan Holden 104. Big gap between the three. Can anybody catch JT? Well, he's looked Mr. Consistent this season. It's going to be interesting to see everybody in behind that, right the way down to William Schlichting down in 10th on 32.5. Plus, you've got right the way through to 11th to 19th of Kean Puller. Not going to count Storm Gang. That was, I believe, Dan Herlock tested a GT3. Dark Thunder Racing, Aston Martin Vantage out in front of the teams. And Maddie Overton, Walker and Tammy ahead. They're literally ahead by 124 points. BHR XGSR fan Friction Mercedes, that's a mouthful, in second place. And as you can see, the other teams in behind him. Going down into the GT3 AMS, Alexander McQuarrie, Stephen Miller, Peter Meyer, Adam Gray. That's it. It's all between them four. Nobody else is really in the mix unless they have a run and a half over the rest of the calendar. Craig Puller, Eugene Mazur, Stacey Scott, David Anderson, and Norm Graff. But it is them four at the front. Again, no real dramas kicking in at the moment for these guys, but they have got to be consistently on the race circuit. There's been a couple of times as well where they haven't always been here. So we're going to find out how they get on. But it's good to know. Right, just to let you know as well, I'm James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the interview in the box by Mr. Tom Cairns and Mr. Ross Smith. And just because I thought, and I was glutton for punishment, I thought I'd bring Paul Glover in as well, who's going to be on production. So the bug is back in my ear, ladies and gentlemen. But let's start off with Tom Cairns. Tom Cairns, you've heard me waffle on enough, dear sir. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you, James. Hello to everyone gearing up for the latest round of the VWSC. Here at Watkins Glen, an old school racetrack, but a very lovable one. Absolutely. 60 laps of action to come. Qualifying has just concluded, and we just await for the start of this, what should be a magnificent event here. Close to the city of New York. I think it's situated in New York City, actually, you think of it, with Watkins Glen. But either way, I'm looking forward to this one.
Well, let's bring in the man who is in America, of course. No point relying on Britons for directions when we're not even there. Mr. Ross Smith. Ross, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. Just getting over my 40th birthday yesterday, so pardon me if I'm sounding a little bit rough, just still recovering from yesterday. But yeah, great to be here. It's going to be a great track, just like Tom said. Really good for all the drivers here, quite a few Americans. And like you said, pretty much everyone who's in this event knows this track really well. So it's going to be a matter of really seeing who can play out their strategy, play to their strengths, and kind of survive today's events.
What do we think as well, gentlemen? Who's going to take the victory? Who do we think is going to happen? Ross, let's start with you.
Obviously you've got the two Dans at the front there for Hypercar that are always favorites, but Ben Kesby's been showing pretty strong. He just took this track for the NARS event, running in he's running the Cadillac in that series, but still doing very strong, and he's got a pretty good handle on the 499, so don't count it out. Cameron Barker also, I mean, he's showing pretty strong here too, so don't count him out. I'd say for the Hypercar AMS, John Mayer's looking pretty good with Jerry Chen, but I wouldn't count out George Angelides because he might be able to put a sneak attack in there and make a move on him. We'll have to see. Alan Holden obviously down there at the top of LMGT3, and Alexander McQuarrie. Those would probably be my picks for the GT side of things. But obviously JT Tammy strong, David Junt strong, and you've got James Walker and Brian Van Voseckum in that AMG. He's been showing some pretty good pace here today. So will be fun to watch.
Tom, would you welcome?
So in Hypercar, I think it'll be either the two Dams or Ben Kesby. I think it'll be one of those three that'll take the honours in the hypercar class in hypercar Am. I've been impressed with Jerry Chen whenever I've watched him race, actually. So that would be my money on him to come away with the hypercar Am class in the GT3 Pros, if you want to call it them. Oops, it's gone away from my screen actually. I would say it's a. I'm struggling between JT Tammy and David Young, to be honest with you. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm going to go JT Tammy just as a safe bet on this occasion. And in the AMs for that, I think it'll be Stephen Miller. Something tells me that Stephen Miller will just sneak by McQuarrie in this one and just snatch it here.
Especially if Alexander blows up his engine again.
Well, let's hope that don't happen, Mr. Smith, eh? You know what I mean? Poor little man.
No, you don't want that on anybody.
No, we don't want that to happen whatsoever here as well. Let us know. Happy belated birthday, Ross. How's the dog? Oh, go on then, Ross.
Goomba's had a little bit of a setback, but he's resting right now, so hopefully he's able to rally later today. But thanks for asking.
There you go. The dog is all good. Well, as best as the dog can be. But there we go on that one. So let us know in YouTube chat who you're cheering for as well, as we're sitting here in a very hot UK. Yes, it is sun. We have sun, believe it or not, and temperatures about 26 to 28 or wherever. Some places in my office I'm more 30 plus because I'm sweating out, and I believe and Paul is also doing that, and probably Tom at the same time. So be aware as we get on, we might get a little bit more grumpier as we get into 50 laps here, because we're probably all lost weight and shriveled up in our seats. Tom, what do we think with this track? They all should know, right? But one of the things we were talking about is turn 9 and literally the problem at turn 9. That uphill off-camber braking. How are they going to manage that if they hit traffic at that point?
Well, it's just taking it very easy, really. I mean, it may be you have to go around the outside because whilst there may be blue flags involving these slower runners, it's still your responsibility to make sure you go around them or past them without making any form of contact with them. And that's the tricky part of it. But one thing I will say is on where the inner loop is, that's going to be a challenging point of the circuit where those in hypercar could end up being caught up behind the GTs. So that is going to be a focus point, I think, during the course of the 60 laps that we've got on offer here. And maybe through the S's, because when you go through up the S's, you know, if you're in a much faster machine and you get caught up in traffic there, that could play into the hands of those who are right behind you, and it could play a role in the strategy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
It's going to play a vital role in how this race could get decided.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've hit it on the head there. My only fear is obviously first lap as well, cold tires. Now, I've seen many races here as well up through the S's where it's all gone wrong and we've ended up with a parking lot, right? And I do mean a parking lot. GT3 strewn out. I've seen Super Formula strewn out. I've seen everything. So I'm hoping that these guys are aware that if you spin up through the S's, well, you're going to be in a bit of a bad spot and try and keep out the way. But one of the things I think as well, Ross, coming to you on this one, GT3s, hypercars, traffic, bus stop. How, as a hypercar driver, would you control it?
Really depends on where you catch them. Obviously, as the hypercar, you want to try and sneak past them on that long stretch through Sector 1 to really get in there and just beat them out into that braking zone, because the GTs, they brake so much better, and you're going to be, if you're side by side, you're not going to be able to make it through there and maximize attack. So even if you make it work, it's going to be a problem just because you're going to lose speed. You're going to lose pace because you really want to just be able to attack it. So either get in front or slot in and make it through. So getting that timing just right and having a good sense of where you're going to end up catching that traffic is going to be key to making sure that you're able to maximize your pace and keep your competition behind you.
Yeah, absolutely as well. We've just got the weather map sitting in front of me and we are not looking healthy. I have to be blatantly honest as well, judging by that weather map. Are we in the right place, Mr. Producer there? Are we? Hopefully we are as well. And it's not looking too good. Possibility of rain. Ross, what do we think?
Well, I'm trying to get up the radar right now. It is showing that it's got, I mean, there's actually a severe thunderstorm watch in the New York and Pennsylvania area. Yeah, but it's not showing severe rain until probably at least a few hours from now. So it may end up holding off before the end of the race. It looks like that weather cell might be slowing down a little bit. So we'll have to see. It does start to grow a little bit as we get towards the end of the event. So that's probably where we're going to see things happen. But right now, it looks like it should be pretty clear, at least until we're in the last segment.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to have these cars start going on. I believe we're still in warm-up at this moment in time before we can get underway here as well. But it's going to be one that's going to be interesting. The rain's is it going to come? Is it not going to come? How late will it come at this moment in time? Hold your horses there as well. Mr. Reese, we are all suffering. Dude, I feel you. Like, I have literally, I've had the job list from the wife today. I've been running around like a trooper, absolutely sweating out. It's been an absolute nightmare. And to be honest, Tom Cairns, I don't know how you feel, but I am in an hot and sticky office and it's horrible.
Yeah, well, I had my window closed during my earlier commentary gigs, but I've got it open now, and I'm very relieved to have done that. So I'm probably in a better state compared to where you are at the moment, JP. So, you know, hopefully it will stay that way for me. But have you got like a fan on or something, or have you had to turn it off?
No, I've got a fan right next to me that you can't hear due to I've got obviously settings on my mics and stuff, and I've got a fan blowing into my PC just to try and make sure that doesn't go bang as well. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a bad spot. Ross, are you sat in an office or are you in a nice open air-conditioned building?
Well, there's technically air conditioning, but this is an old converted attic, so it's going to get a little bit warmer in here. I'm going to start feeling like I'm in one of these cars probably over the next hour or so.
Wonderful. Well, there you go. Let us know where you are, how hot it is, and whether or not you got air conditioning, or if you live in the UK, we don't ever need it because we never really get that hot. But at the moment, we are sweating out up here in the comms booth as well. We're all going to be like shriveled prunes, and we'll be able to help you with your digestive system once we finish here as well. But it's going to be a very, very interesting one at the same time. What do we think, Tom? One of the main points are going to be at the hypercars here. Do we think that it's going to be obviously barely in mind with traffic management? We'll bring you up pictures of these cars going around very, very shortly, I'm sure. So we're not just staring at the same screen. That would be awesome. So we can actually see some of these cars around here in action. I do struggle. I do worry that obviously turn one is going to be a bit of an issue, especially if there's GT3s inside of them.
Yeah, well, turn one, as we all know, is like a 90-degree bend. You know, we do see a lot of drivers go through the runoff area before rejoining back onto the circuit. Hopefully that won't be too much of an issue. But I am looking out to see who will get off to the best of starts here. I mean, they're all being their separate so-called grid sort of spaces compared to each other. I mean, you know, we'll see the hypercars go first and then the GTs afterwards. But I think turn one should be relatively straightforward.
It's going to come up on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go through it here as well. After three, there we go. Cameron Parker on pole position. Dan Kirby in second. Danny Hurlock third, and Ben Kesby. That is the battle of the four big hitters. Who's going to come out on top? Well, behind that, it's going to be Timon Suvic, Johnny Uyan, Magnus Dahlgren, and Johnny Gutierrez in that 9X8, looking fabulous, although it has got that dodgy wing on, but we won't hold it against him. John Mayer leading the AMS in with Jerry Chen and Gilles Lalonde, and then Vinicius Goncalves is down in 12th place there as well. Going on, it's Philip Ducati in 13th, Matthew Bice in 14th, and then George Angelides down in 15th, Mike Bice down in 16th place. Moving on to the GT3 Pros, Alan Holden leading the way with Ryan Paulbert Reyes sitting in second place, then Elko Bussin in third, then JT Tammy is rounding out fourth. Four big hits at the front. David Jun, Alexander McQuarrie leads the way in the AMS with James Walker and Brian Van Buscum in 24th place. On to the next round as well. Matty Overton, oh boy, down in 25th. Stephen Miller, 26th. Alan Santo in 27th. And Peter Meyer sitting down in 28th place. Then we got Vasilios Katarinakis, I forgot how to pronounce his name for a brief moment, with Adam Gray in behind. Cars are on the pace lap, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on to your hats. Keep your fingers crossed, toes crossed. Let's see if we can make this through cleanly here as these guys head up through the S's for what will be 60 laps of sweaty hell. So hold on here once again as well. So before we get going, they've got to do this pace lap. Tom, what are you thinking about in the car at this moment in time?
Just get through safely. It's not one on the first lap, but it's where it can be lost.
Agreed. Ross, what's your warm-up? What do you do on your practice lap?
Just kind of take notes, take stock of where you're at, who's around you, and just settle into whatever strategy you've been working on based off of where you qualified. Avoid all the opening lap chaos. That's all you can do.
Do you ever sit there in the car sometimes? Like, I've been driving officials this week in another simulator, and I sit there and I think that when I see certain drivers, I just think I don't really want to be near this individual. Do you
Oh yeah.
slow down, or do you let them go?
I think it's all on the fly. You kind of have to make that decision. Just take an opportunity if you can get past them, move away. And otherwise, just kind of pick your poison. Try and find a spot where you're going to be safe and you can make it to the end. You got 60 laps here, so it's going to be a relatively long race, and not terribly long, but it's a little bit different strategy when they're going through. It's not a timed event, so it's going to be a little bit different. So I think the way that you come in and approach who's around you is going to have to kind of match that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of the most important things as well. We're in now through the hill, what is traditionally known as turn 8. This is turn 9. Up through the left-hander, there's that crest of the hill you can see that could end up causing a bit of a problem there. So the camera's a little bit of a finny moment, but we are going to be going on here as well into the penultimate corner. Through the left-hander we can go. Cameron Barker leading the way. Danny Kirby, Dan Herlock, Ben Kesby. It's the battle of the front four here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, if you haven't got your drinks, if you haven't got your popcorn, if you've not sat there with a fan in your underwear, well, you better be, because we are going to be right about now. Green, green, green across the line. Barker's going to lead us away. Dan Kirby sitting down in second place there as well. Oh! Danny Herlock's off the side of the circuit. That's put Ben Kesby straight into third place. There's Herlock on the right-hand side. It's going to be the battle of, I think Kirby's just managed to take it. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see down in the GT3's holder, Paulbert Reyes has just got away with Elko Bussening in behind him. David Chun, Alexander McQuarrie, James Walker, Brian Van Buscombe. But that, at the moment there, Tom, was a proper scary start for Mr. Herlock at the beginning.
Yeah, so going straight on, but he's managed to rejoin the circuit safely, has Herlock, but it's Kirby who's in the lead out of Barker, so we've got two Cadillacs leading first and second, with Ben Kesby in third. So far it's John Maher who's in the Hypercar AM lead, as they all filter their way around the circuit, heading through the boot section of the course. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. We'll find out who has gone round through there. I think that's gone away now. So it is George Andelides who's gone round in one of the GTs, I believe, who's gone round. So that's him down the order already. But now they're coming out of the boot and heading towards the notorious section of the top end of the boot before the first lap is out.
Through turn 8 they go now, coming down into turn 9. It does it. We've had Angelides spin, of course. Unfortunately for him, for George, he has, well, he's propping up the whole of the race. He has gone round and he's had to sit there, and now he is plumb last, and he will be looking at making his way forward. On board with Danny Herlock sitting in 7th place at the moment. You can see go down into turn 1. In front of him is Johnny Gutierrez in that 9X8. The battle of the cars here, Ross, as well. Danny Herlock in the Cadillac, Gutierrez in the 9X8. Who's going to come out on top? Which car would you want to be in?
Herlock's got the pace for sure. I mean, Johnny is good for, he's got pace and everything, but early on, I mean, Herlock just has a really good handle on that Cadillac. That turn 1 incident, he was just trying to avoid Cameron Barker because he was pinched in from the left by Kirby, so he couldn't try and dive to the right. And Cameron was right there, so if he didn't pull off to the left, he was going to run up his diffuser. So good job avoiding that. He did lose some places. Didn't lose too much pace, though, but he's got a long mountain to climb as he's kind of backslid very early on.
Yeah, just goody areas there as well. Alan Holden leading the way with JT Tammy, Elko Bussenink in behind him in the GT3s. And you can see as these guys go through, Holden in that Ferrari 296. Absolutely love that car this season. He's managed to keep it there, and he's absolutely buried it. It's been a great job from Alan Holden. As we're on to a replay here as well. I believe this is going to be Mr. Angelidis, is it? That's JT Tammy, I think it is, or Mr. Matthew Overton. We'll keep an eye out to see if we can get Mr. Angelidis up here so we can have a look. Here is George's little drama. Going into the bus stop for the first time. There he is on the outside, the blue and white. Not really quite sure he really wanted to be there. Oh! Now, was that a matter of, can we do that again? Being side by side too wide in the bus stop, Ross? Or was that just a battle of, you know, refusal to almost back out there?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, looking at it back from George's angle, he caught a bit of the curb because he was trying to keep to the left of whichever Bice that was. And I think it was
both.
Matt Bice.
I think both were involved at some point, to be honest.
Yeah, so he was trying to avoid making contact. It was a little spicy contact between some of the others over there. It looked like Herlock was with one of the Toyotas. But yeah, from this angle, he's just coming across, and I could see how much room that Bice was giving him. But yeah, I mean, it's so difficult, especially on the opening lap. Cold tires, you just really can't keep a tight line through there like you'd want to. So now he's back down with the GTs and trying to fight his way back through.
Yeah, my fear with that, Tom, as well, is the guy on the inside is never going to treat that corner like a 90-degree right-hander, right? Which is practically, when you're on that inside line, Ross, I think you'll probably back me up here, that inside line is practically a 90% right if you've got to try and avoid the guy on the outside. So was that more on an equation, do we think, Tom? George possibly should have maybe backed away from it?
It was pure accidental, you know, just fighting for track position, really. So I wouldn't put the blame on anyone that time. So it was just unlucky for George Angelis to go around the way he did, because he went over that left, the curb on the left-hand side as he went through the inner loop. So it's just one of those things we've just got to take on the chin and get on with it. We're getting reports saying that he's been in the pits. We'll have a look to see. We're getting reports that Dan Herlock has been in the pit lane. He was running in 6th place in class, although he's actually still on the circuit, is Dan Herlock, so it has to be someone else.
Yeah, I think it'll catch it when they catch some of the in and out of the pit road. It's just a little bit close to the timing line, so it's.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's just picked up and said that it has gone in. We're on board with Herlock now, chasing down Magnus Dahlgren here. 0.2 behind him at this moment in time. Smart Power Racing, Cadillac V Series, SKS Motorsport, Toyota GR010 Evo. Who's going to come out on top here? I think Herlock has got enough pace, and through the turn 8 they go, coming into the left-hander now, up once again over the crest of the hill. No wheel drive, you should see a little bit of a wiggle out the back end of Herlock. Now into the penultimate corner, he's going to close in right in behind Magnus Dahlgren. Now it's going to be that run down. Herlock gets the nose locked in early. You saw that line slide over. Is he going to have a go? No, Dahlgren looks at moving just about here to the side. Herlock, where's he going to go? He sent him on the outside. I don't think this is going to work. He's got to try to cut back underneath. Dahlgren's got to try and come across here at this moment in time. He manages to survive, Tom, but how much longer is he going to survive for?
Herlock all over the back of Dahlgren as they go through the S's together. Now the inner loop is where it's going to really put to the test of a true driver's ability. Looks to the outside, wheel to wheel on the approach to the inner loop. Surely he's not going to make it through there, but he does so. But that's not without contact.
The same thing. The inside guy is not going to take a 90-degree right to try and stay out of your way. You've got to make your choices. You've got to make your choices. There just weren't enough room left again from both of them there, Ross, that isn't going to cause that problem every single time.
Yeah, it's and that one I think actually, well, it's really tough to say because Yeah, they were both fighting. It's preliminarily, I'd say it's probably 50-50 on that one. And they'd already had some spicy interactions before. Dahlgren obviously putting up a really strong defense on Herlock very early on, even though Herlock probably had pace on him, but he just couldn't get by. And now it's ended with that, and Gutierrez picks up 2 spots.
Yeah, Dahlgren down the order, of course, he's come out worst of all that. Herlock's down in 6th place here. It's going to be a continual thing once more if they start trying to do the inside line round the outside. It hasn't worked so far, and I don't think it's going to work throughout the race. As you can see, Herlock runs very, very wide there. Up through the Essex section he goes, hopefully without any dramas. We're going to find out as he starts going up here currently at the moment. I just think, Tom, they've got to be careful of that 2 wide situation going up through that, up through the bus stop. I just can't see it working at all.
Well, unless you get the move done before the corner, which is what Herlock had done on Gutierrez, and Kesby's got in front of Barker as well. We gain a replay of the incident involving Herlock and Dahlgren at the inner loop on the previous lap. So this is Herlock's on board as he goes to the outside, and that was almost wheel banging there. I don't know what that was all about, but Herlock remained on the outside. I think Dahlgren was entitled to more room. I think there was more room on that inside curb where Herlock could have took without running into Dahlgren.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, let's have a look at Dahlgren. Dahlgren's view. That's what I want to see.
I think you're right. I think there was a door shut there. I don't know if he didn't give him room or he didn't know he was going to be there or whatever the situation is. I think he shut the door on him. And that would be why I'd be interested to see that from Dahlgren's point of view as well, to see what the situation would be. Now through the right hand, Cameron Parker there, sitting in 2nd place at this moment in time. He's just gone past, I believe that's a back marker. He's at 2.6 seconds in with Timon Suvic, or a GT3, sorry, not a back marker, as we're heading up forward as well. Now through the right-hander, currently at the moment, lapping into, I believe, that's the Lexus of Peter Meyer. He has just gone through, which means he's going to be chasing down Stephen Miller's McLaren 705 Evo. Concalves, Jerry Chen fighting it out in the Hypercar AMS. John Mayer out in front, however. Kirbying, and I think at the end of the day, they'd be interested to know whether or not there's going to be any issues at the front there at the same time. Is this Dahlgren, I believe?
Yes.
Incident, yeah.
I stand by the fact that Dahlgren was entitled to more room, James. That's where I sit with it.
I think some things are trying to happen there, and that was the fact that that's why you heard both of us go, ooh, was Herlock had carried extra speed in there. So it's really down to the inside guy to give himself room on the outside, Ross, isn't it? Completely, because how else is the outside guy going to give him any more room if he's already tight against the curb on the inside?
So technical ruling is, if you are affecting a pass and you have side by side, so your front axle is at least to the other driver's head, which they were side by side going in there, then you do have to give at least a lane for that driver. You can't, you wouldn't have that driver back out. They aren't too far back. So you both need to be able to afford each other room. And I agree with Tom. I think that he probably could have had a little bit more room. The only place where I hesitate a little bit is it looked like he moved just a little bit left after he came off of that curb and squeezed that line as Herlock was coming out. I think they were both going to make contact regardless. It's a tough call, and I'm sure the stewards are going to have fun figuring that one out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, good luck to them. As well, you see down in the bottom right-hand corner, that is the Aston Martin of the GT3 there. I believe that's JT, JT and Matty Overton as well. So I think it's JT down in that bottom right-hand corner, if I'm not mistaken. Or, so wait for final confirmation, but I'm pretty sure it is as well. You see on the top screen, Concalves and Jerry Chen. Again, as we say, Tom, it's down to the stewards to figure that one out. But we're going to have some more great racing coming up. Are we going to see more spicy moments? That's going to be the question.
I'd be surprised if it didn't. But one thing I will say is that Ben Kesby, who was running in 2nd place before the incident involving Herlock and Dahlgren, he lost around about 10 seconds and he dropped down to 6th place. I'm interested to know what happened to Kesby, because that's a big change in the race in the hypercar class, and he's left himself with more work to do. But we are coming towards the first round of pit stops. We're not too far away from that, thinking of it. But I wouldn't be at all surprised in the next 5 or 6 laps to see some of the hypercars at least make pit stops.
Yeah, I think we are as well. Coming up to that marker, I think it's going to be near enough possible for these guys to get in and out here. And where the situation is, they're going to obviously want to be looking at diving in the most traffic-free area. But Ross, looking at, at this moment in time, if you go in, you're going to be stuck in traffic either way by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's really getting spicy here. This is the first time that the field is kind of intersecting itself, and this is kind of going back to what Tom was asking about before. I caught the back end of this as it was going on, and I'll let pictures speak for themselves as this goes on between, I believe that's Kesby and Kirby.
Ooh, they collided, and Kesby went into the barrier as well.
Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal, unfortunately. Yeah, depends on what, obviously sitting with damage and stuff, and what he's got to go and contend with there. Goncalves in behind Jerry Chen. You see how these guys are looking forward as well. Lap 10 of 61.51 left out there. The out of theirs as well. Did I miss what happened to Ben? Yes, you've just literally seen it. That's what went on there as well. Manny Bikes and Philip Picardi running side by side where they were until they got through on the GT3. Of course, that is the Mercedes on the right hand side of that. That's Brian Van Bruscum, I believe, in that Mercedes. He's trying to chase down Matty Overton. Now this is where the situation's really going to get spicy though, Tom, because the GT3 is fighting for position, but at the same time he's trying to watch out for the hypercars as well.
Yeah, so it's two things. One, to fight against those in your class, and those getting out of and the second one is getting out of the way of the hypercars coming through, like we've just seen with Overton and Van Bruscum. And we are hearing that there are pit stops about to take place. We'll find out soon. That's contact between the hypercar there and the GT, and Van Bruscum had to go off the circuit, and that allows Overton through into P7. Which hypercar was that collided with Van Bruscum? It was a green liveried hypercar that came together with him, but we'll find out soon enough who that exactly that was.
It could be one of the bikes. They're in the sort of main green situation. So
Mike, yeah.
Yeah, it could be Mike's all in green as well. It's just that final confirmation from the man in my ear up. Thank you very much there as well. The bug speaks, however, I just cannot spot it. There we go, we move on here as well. Ross, we're getting into this kind of area now where these guys are settling down. Are you setting up your fuel strategy, do you think? You're setting up your tyres?
Well, I don't know if I'd call this settling down quite yet, but yeah, you're definitely wanting to keep an eye on tires. And as Tom was kind of talking through that last little bit, I was taking a look at some of the battles here, like the one with Jerry Chen and Vinicius Goncalves, and notice that both drivers are running softs in the rear and hards on the front. And with Watkins Glen, it can be very abrasive with the way that you kind of have to hold speed through like these medium and high speed corners. So it's kind of interesting to watch that, and the way that the rotors lay out. Keep an eye on that, because that's going to give hints at the way that some of these drivers have their car set up. You know, if you see like one end of the car glowing quite a bit brighter than the other, you know, they might be having something going on where they're running bias on that side of the car really heavy. Maybe not. You know, if it's towards the front, you know, that car's probably set up so that way it can be a little bit tighter. As we see a move here, let's see if Jerry can pull it off before they get. Nope, no, he's gonna back off. Yeah, or if they run it towards the back and keep it loose, finishing the thought.
Wow, okay. Well, let's see what goes on here as Jenny Chen is chasing down Goncalves. Of course, Goncalves in the 9X8 Evo, Chen in behind him here currently at this moment in time, sitting in third place. And this is going to be one of the things that we are going to have to look out for. It's going to be whether or not the off-tracks are going to be very similar to other simulators. I think it's going to be mainly down in turn 1, since they revamped it, didn't they? They made turn 1 more off-tracky, and they made turn 8 I believe it was a little bit easier to run a little bit wider. So where them guys are now, they made it a little bit leaner off the old track limits, but it was originally the other way round. Turn 1 was a little bit easier and turn 8 was a little bit more allowed of track limits, but that's obviously changed around the other way. It's gone back to turn 1 being off track, 8 being limits. So that's something we're going to have to pick up on here as well. Ryan Paulbert Reyes has jumped Alan Holden, the Porsche 911 in the over the Ferrari 296 GT3, and now it's all really down to how good Alan Holden is chasing here, Tom, I think.
Yep, and he'll have to just keep on the tail of Ryan Paulbert Reyes, who are coming around the last corner. It's a really nice fight happening between the top 3. Tammy's in this. As you can see, all 3 of them in your picture. Basink and Yuntz are in the fight of their own over 4th place. It's nice to see that they're still close to each other at this stage. I mean, it's still early days. We're only a 5th of the way through this 60 laps of the Glen. And it looks comfortable at the moment for Dan Kirby in Hypercar. The same for Maher in Hypercar. And Reyes, who's under attack from Holden and Tammy in LMGT3. And then McQuarrie in LMGT3 has got a really slender margin over Miller, who was in a fight with Peter Meyer for 2nd place in that respective category.
Yeah, they are fighting it out there, but we're going to find out how we go. But McQuarrie for Reyes now leading the way, holding in behind the Tammy. Concalvin 7 seconds back behind John Mayer. Kirby 6 seconds out up front. McQuarrie leading the LMGT3 Labs with 13 minutes there as well. So let's see how he goes on. At the same time, Alan Holden is going to be one of these individuals, I think, who has really got the cosh coming to him this season, Ross. And I think Alan's done a good job, hasn't he, this season as well? You know, in that LMP3's GT3, sorry, and he's doing rather well at this moment in time. Or not? Oh no! Oh, he's muted. There's Mr. Smith here as well. He's muted. Yeah, he's unfortunately he's gone to have a little bit of a chat with his dog, and hopefully there as well. Rewind by 5 minutes 40 from live. There is the replay of the Kesby Barker crash. Yes, that's where it is. Yeah, on there as well. So we'll keep an eye out and see how this goes. It's going to be a thrilling battle in between the Hypercar AMS here. Concalves in the 9X8. Jerry Chetton chucked in behind it in the Porsche 963 here as well. Tom, which one would you rather be in?
It was a good question. As they're coming through, I probably want to be in Jen's car right now. As I see Concalves coming out of the toe corner, and didn't get the best of exits really either, but it's just a moment of time before Chen makes his way through. There was a yellow flag in sector 3, but I don't know if that's because of cars coming into the pit lane at the end of the lap. We'll find out whether there has been some form of incident as we speak. And Chen still on the tail of Concalves as they head their way through the final sector of the lap, and this is making the life of the Hypercar AM leader John Maher's life easier in the Porsche 963, but so far so good for Concalves and Chen in their own battle for 2nd place.
Great job from all of these guys as they're continuing on here as well at Watkins Glen. It's going to be very, very exciting for the rest of the time here. We're going to find out how these guys are going to get on. You can see Concalves on the right-hand side, up behind him as well, going side by side into the bus stop. Is this, there we go. There you go, Jerry Chen backed out.
Got someone in the pits, that is Philip DiCarti, who's gone into pit road, the first to make a scheduled stop. It was a little bit naughty actually from Concalves the way he cuts across on Chen on the back straight before the inner loop. I don't know if we can get a replay of it so we can see from Chen's onboard of the way Concalves cut across on him, because that was very close to the pair of them having a really nasty shunt.
You reckon?
Yeah, well, I want to get a replay to see how Concalves cuts across there, because it looked a little late on Chen, long before they got to the inner loop.
Okay, we'll have a look back and see if that is the right scenario. As we've got the leaders of the GT3s going alongside here at this moment in time. There we go in the Aston Martin for JT Tammy over Hallen Holden, and JT goes through without any drama as well. We're going to have a look back at that one and see if that is correct very, very shortly. A couple of people come into pit lane on board now as well. We have John Meyer, Jerry Chen leading the Hypercars, in the 963. Once again, you see 7.6 seconds along. Goncalves in pit lane. Weiss, Mike Weiss, Angelidis and Ducati are in the GT3s at this moment in time. So there you go, that's what we're going to be looking at currently at the moment. David Junt, Elko Busenik in 4th and 5th in the GT3 Pros as the Hypercars come through once again here. Tom, it's going to be a very backwards and forwards race by the looks of what we've had so far here already. And I think, is this going to be a continuation of what we're going to see throughout this, do you reckon?
It feels that way, but it comes down to, I guess you're right, there's contact between Yunt and Busenik. There was a slight internet connection issue for David Yunt because the way the car jumped or lagged in that situation. And Busenik was very, very lucky that he didn't get taken out by that, otherwise there may have been a few words between them afterwards. But we can see Cameron Barker coming into the pits as well as Dan Kirby. They're both in.
Yeah, both of them are in pit lane at the moment. So good job from them guys. So good continue on as well. Kesby's coming to the pits at the same time. 17 of 61 here as well. I believe Mr. Ross Smith is back in the booth as well. Ross, how's it going?
It's it's pretty good over here. Just kind of catching up on some of the events, and yeah, that was a scary moment there. I was actually just thinking that Ilka was starting to have a pretty decent race, although he's falling back, and I was just thinking about the way that he'd mentioned that the tires in the Lamborghini in particular are difficult to manage, just as most of the GT tires are, but in particular just with the rears and keeping those up on pace. And with the temperature being kind of as warm as it is, I think it's just hitting about 30 right now for the air temp. It's going to be a challenge for them as they go through to the next pit stop cycle. I'll be curious to see how many of the GTs try and double stint, or if they just decide, hey, give me fresh stuff right away.
What would you, are we limited on tyre sets, Ross?
No, not at all. But it's time, and you want to try and maximize your pace as much as you can. If you're able to conserve those tires, not slide around a whole lot, keep the grip in them even though they're warm, then you can save a lot of time. I mean, running through the pit stop, that's another 40 seconds, 45 seconds or so. This looks like John Uyon's gotten a penalty.
I think they might have been speeding out of pit lane for John Uyan. But let's see how these guys got on. Stefan Miller and Peter Meyer. They're fighting out second and third in the GT3 AMS. Here, both men out. Whoa! That's Santo there, I believe. He's just gone round. Sat there quite happily as well, Ross. Not an ideal place to be sat there.
No, and it's just like you were talking about early on in the broadcast, that turn 9 area is very difficult. You're off camber. It's one of the slowest corners on the track, if not the slowest, as you're coming around through there, and it's blind. That's very odd. I'm not sure why he's not able to kind of wheel spin that up. Get a look here. Looks like he was on his own.
Yeah, I think it was. It runs wide, it's the curb, and then unfortunately that's about all she wrote there. It's now up and running, of course, which is always great. So good job from them, but yeah, not an ideal scenario as well. But it does sound like there's a couple of people out there, Tom, who seem to be struggling with the race.
Yeah, we saw a replay involving Chen and Goncalves earlier on in the race, where Goncalves cut across, where you can just see the hypercar and leaders going through now. I think it was fine from watching that replay, but it did look very close at live images the way Goncalves cut across on Chen. So I think Goncalves will get away with it that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't worry, Suvik's not been in the pit lane for 4 minutes. We will give that a bit of a kick in a minute. and hopefully that will work without any dramas whatsoever. There we go. This is now back out on the racetrack, lap 18 of 61. 3 minutes, everybody's fairly spread out in all classes. Miller and Meyer down in GT3 AMS might be one of the closest battles, if not the closest battle on the racetrack. So we'll have to keep an eye and see them a little bit later on, as there's 1 seconds here between John Meyer and Jerry Chen. So let's see how this one all goes here as well. Ross, you're starting to miss not racing in the modern yet.
Oh, I miss it all the time. It's not something that I can really put too much attention on right now, and yeah, so I'm still enjoying watching this. It's a shame that that George unfortunately had Stuart Barge drop out on him because obviously the Jerry George battle throughout the season is always great to watch. You know, whenever they're side by side on track or whether the teams are going at it, but. Unfortunately, since I wasn't able to really help him at Le Mans, and he hasn't had the support for a full season teammate, that's going to have to kind of go on the shelf, and they're just going to have to look at the historics to be able to keep that battle going on.
But it's one of them things, isn't it? You know, if certain things don't fit or within lifestyle, or you've just got too much going on. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. Also, thank you very much, Mr. Karabasak there, is in YouTube chat as well. Very kind compliment there. Also, amazing commentary work, guys. I hate to admit this, but it's more fun to watch and listen to you guys than to drive in the actual race. Oh. Well, there you go, Ross. Well, clearly it is for some people, Ross, and that is how it works there as well. Nice little compliment there, Tom, for us to kick into the the third part of this race so far.
Well, if he's enjoying it, he's enjoyed the commentary, then nothing else matters really, I suppose, does it? This we've waiting for more pit stops to happen in this 60 hours of the 60 hours? 60
hours?
60 laps of the Glen. I was looking at the weather radar, and it kind of put me off kilt a little bit when I was thinking, right, when is it going to happen? I had the word hour in my head, but no, I don't know if the rain is actually going to come to the circuit. I'm looking to see whether, yeah, it looks like it's just going to, judged by the trajectory of the way the clouds are coming in, it does look like it's going to hit it just about, isn't it?
Might get it a little bit hour on there. What do you reckon of that, Ross? 60 hours of the Glen.
I mean, I'd be for it. I don't know that we ever see that happen. 6 hours is about all sailing's going to be paying for, so we'll take all we can get, you know.
60 hours. Poor old George will have an heart attack if I sent him that bill. Anyway, moving on from that one. I think I would have an heart attack before these two sent me their bill. Right, Miller and Meyer still fighting out in the top of the GT3 AMS as well. Once more, this is going to get very, very spicy. It does look like Miller's just got to pass Meyer. That was a very relaxed overtake. Meyer didn't really do much there. Tom, I'm wondering why that was.
Well, I don't know if he's playing the long game with the strategy, but yeah, it did look like he let Miller go a little bit too easily. We've got Reyes, who was the leader in the LMGT3 class, has just come into the pit lane, handing the lead over to GT Tammy for the time being. Holden has gone through as well, Yunt has gone through, and we should expect to see Walker and Overton go through, so we should expect Reyes to come back out in 6th position. He's had a strong race so far, has Reyes. Let's hope that he can actually keep it going all the way to the end. It feels to me like the light is fading around Watkins Glen, so by the time the darkness properly falls, it's going to throw another challenge into the mix, because there's not a lot of floodlights around the circuit. They have to rely on their headlights to make sure.
Yeah, I think it's dropping down a little bit, isn't it? It's getting a little bit more darker here as Miller and Meyer in through turn 1. Behind, I believe that's Magnus Dahlgren in the Hypercars goes through there. And a great job from them. No real major dramas at this moment in time. A few little battles going to materialise. Kirby still out in front. Herlock closing in. Not backing off, he is closing in. Parker in behind that, and Kesby. That's the 4 big boys. Suvic, Gutierrez, Dahlgren, Lalonde in behind that one as well. And then we got into the Hypercar AMS of Matty Bice, Mike Bice, Johnny Ian and Philip Ducati in the Hypercar AMS. John Mayer is leading the way with Jerry Chen in second place, and then Vinicius Goncalves is sitting in third. In the GT3's pros is JT Tammy leading the way with Alan Holden and David Shun, and then behind that is James Walker and Matthew Overton. Then Stephen Miller leads the way in the AMS with Peter Meyer in behind and Adam Gray, and then Alexander McQuarrie, who was on that pole position, mind you, is down in the 4th place at the moment in class. Dan Kirby and Dan Herlock now having a run up through the S's top.
Yep, and Herlock is now back in the fight for the win as we speak, as he chases after Dan Kirby, who are continuing to make their way through back markers at this moment in time. It goes back to what we were saying about getting through the back markers at such important points on the circuit. Herlock will hope that Kirby gets held up in. I think Kirby got held up behind that GT that was in front of him. It might have been Alexander McCreary who got in the way of the hypercar leader, which is rather ironic to see the GT3 AM in the way. And we've got Stephen Miller in the pits, one of the other drivers in the GT3 AM class coming in. He was the leader before he came in, so it was not McCreary who was the leader, because I think he already pitted in. It's Miller's turn to head for the pit lane.
It's in there, Overton's in there. So these guys are going to go now as well. Yellow in centre 3 at the moment, but Kirby and Herlock still waiting out. At the same time as well, it does look like Mr. Gray may have caused himself some issues, but we're going to find out, I'm sure, as well. But let's see how these all go on. 22 laps gone, and we've got that of 61. So I'm trying to do maths really quickly. There's actually 39 laps, I believe, remaining here of this race at Watkins Glen. Kirby being closed into by Dan Herlock. Herlock recovering back into second place at this moment after his incident in turn 1, which sent him all the way down to 7th. GT3's going in, Miller's in, Gray's in, Overton's in at the same time. Then we got so Herlock managing to recover back there, boss. It's a great recovery from him when he went round in turn 1.
You said on Herlock there? Yeah, this is... I was actually looking at that, wondering if he still had to go in and pit, because that's just an incredible rally. Because you're right, that was quite a bit of time loss. I mean, he effectively fell right to the back of the hypercars, and he was pushing really hard as we saw him going through the field. You know, he was fighting really hard with Dahlgren, and I'm sure that that probably put some fuel in the fire. I have to assume that Dan Kirby at this point is doing a fuel strategy, because for him to lose that much time to Herlock is pretty astounding. I just have to assume that that Herlock is just full throttle, and you know, he might end up having to pit a little bit sooner than Kirby.
Yeah, maybe on that one, but do we not think though as well, Ross, that Herlock could just be blinking quick?
I mean, he's extremely talented. I won't take that away from him. I'm just, you know, looking at the differential that he had to overcome because of that that lap 1 incident. It's just really impressive if that's the case, and he's still able to maintain a fuel emitter to him. Because if that's the case, then, you know, Dan's the man.
Absolutely. We'll find out here once again. It's going to be the battle of the Dans at the front end here as well as possible. Now Herlock's running side by side down into the bus stop. Kirby's on that inside line. To be honest with you, Tom, I'm starting to think this is fuel related. Kirby did not even fight that one bit.
Well, he couldn't, because he got held up behind the GT going up the hill through the S's. That's why Herlock just slingshot his way into the lead, and Kirby won't be too impressed with that. And now he's getting held up by another GT.
Kirby's stuck in behind at this moment in time as we jump down to John Mayer and Jerry Chen. They've dropped down within a second of each other at this moment in time. David Chen and Walker in pit lane in the GT3s. So they're still in the GT3s there as well. Walker sitting in pit lane, Chen out in front at the moment. John Mayer, Jerry Chen coming up to the back end. It's a lap of some GT3s here. Who's going to be able to come out on top? Is this one of these moments, Ross, where you sit there and think, right, I need you to be here at the moment, I need you to be there with the GT3s, and I certainly probably hoping they ain't going to be doing this.
I think this is just typical traffic management, and it's something that's a strong consideration, particularly at this track, because you kind of have to play chess with this. You have to see where the cars are. If you've been around them a few times, you know where they're strong, you know where particular drivers with their cars are able to do different things, and where you have the best chance of being able to catch them. So, you know, as a hypercar driver, you know, I think you look at Jerry Chen, he's really great at traffic management. He's run all different types of car categories. So he's got a strong wherewithal of what everyone and their cars are capable of doing. And so he's able to kind of guess a few corners ahead and figure out where drivers are going to be and where he needs to be positioned relative to them, to his competition, and make the most of the situation. And then you have some other drivers that, you know, maybe they're not looking at it so much like that and just reacting to a situation, and maybe they do so for a little bit more forcefully, and you know, maybe sometimes they have to suddenly back out. It's part of the thrill of endurance racing, especially with this multi-class. So I think you know, everyone's playing nicely right now, but certainly as the laps tick down and it's getting a little bit closer to the end, you're in position to get some points. Maybe some of those niceties might go to the wayside. We'll see.
So we've just seen John Maher lead the car that is the similar livery to what he's using. Jerry Chen, who are in the top two of Hypercar AM, but it's just as close, or if not closer actually, between Dan Herlock and Dan Kirby in first and second place, as Kirby was able to respond. And well, looking at JT Tammy, who's running in second place on track, but that's because he not too long ago had pitted. David Young, lead in the race, has not pitted, so he's going on a longer first stint. JT Tammy was able to jump Reyes in the pit stops as well, so that's an important one as far as his race is concerned, and important for his championship credentials too. And over in the LMGT3 AM class, Alexander McCreary is back in his customary position at the front, with Peter Meyer the latest to come into the pit lane, which should allow Stephen Miller to go up into second place. Meyer, I believe, will rejoin in third, ahead of Adam Gray. David Young, who's the only driver out of the whole 30-car field to have not pitted yet. You can just see by the way he's going through the corners, he's fuel saving, and he's just coming into the pits now at the end of what is lap 25 for the leaders.
That was a long stint for him.
It's a very long stint, yeah, very long stint there for David Young, because he'd gone a long way compared to the likes of everyone else, in all honesty. But we are seeing the battle for second place in the Hypercar Pro class of Kirby and Barker. We're through the last corner now. Kirby ahead of Barker as they head over the line, virtually together. But it is Dan Herlock who continues to lead after a mediocre start to the race, when he ran so far out wide and dropped to 6th place. Has been able to recover well and is into the lead. And there we see JT Tammy on the bottom. And we've got our first retirement of the race. That is Vasilis Katarakis, who has gone from this one. We don't know what happened to the Mercedes AMG driver. We'll find out in a moment, but it looks like JT Tammy is going to get ahead of David Young, since they've come. Well, Young's leaving the pits now, but I think he's well ahead of him, actually, it's JT Tammy. So
good strategy, yeah, for fuel conservation. It looks like he's coming out just behind JT Tammy, and that's going to be he's had a strong rival with him all season long, Tom. It's so he's going to be looking at that and trying to set himself up for the end of the race.
Up to second place goes David Young. He made the strategy work on that first stint, stay out for so long. The question is, can he maybe stretch out the second stint? Possibly. I do say the word possibly. Could he possibly make it to the end without needing to pit? That would be an absolutely blind-storming decision for him to make the fuel work all the way through. But now we're focusing our attentions to the battle for the lead in the Hypercar AM class. There is John Maher and Jerry Chen in Maher, yeah, and John Maher, my apologies. as he heads past what I believe is one of the GTs from, I think, is that Alexander McCreary has just gone past? I think it may well be as they head through. I must say, it might have been David Yunt actually, because he's just come out of the pit lane in front of them. We are looking at a replay, and is this Katrinakis who...
So
This is over at the inner loop, where he's going to have a trip over the curbs.
Oh, that's odd. I wonder if maybe he had some kind of hardware failure there, or it just had a disconnect. That'd be devastating for Stardust Autosport, because I know that his teammate Jamie Zalecki, who actually was going to join us for some pit road reporting because he recently had an injury, so he it really needed his teammate to be able to perform today to give their championship a strong running. But now we've got to fight at the top of the boards here as they get by Mike Boo.
Yeah, the top three nose to tail, Herlock, Kirby and Barker. There was contact between Boyce and Herlock on the approach to the heel section of the boot, and now they are nose to tail these three. The race is hotting up now between Herlock, Kirby and Barker. Ben Kesby is not too far off these three. He's another 7.5 seconds off this battle. If he can keep up with his pace, he may just get into the fight towards the end. But now there are a couple more GTs of which the hypercars have to navigate through. Herlock gets through fine, as does Kirby. What about Barker? He's having to sit in behind, going through the 90-degree bend, which is not going to help his cause. He's got through them at last, but he has definitely lost time there, Ross.
Yeah, I was just kind of watching all of the cars that were involved there to see if there would be any kind of play on it. Cameron Barker's obviously been held up, so he's not able to kind of keep that pressure up. He's not going to do anything to Kirby to try and sacrifice anything with what's going on in that team, but he would certainly do anything he could to capitalize on a situation. If Kirby can get his foot in the door on Herlock, kind of open it up, compromise his position in some way, then Cameron can get in there and really put the pressure on, and even then serve as rear gunner. Both of them can slip by. Now, Tom, I'm wondering, would it be beneficial to Herlock to do what he can to hold Kirby up, back him up into Cameron, and potentially bring Kesby up into the mix, so that way he can start putting pressure on him? Is he even in a position with that? Because I'm watching him slide around here. He might not be able to.
I was going to say he had a snap of oversteer on the exit of the toe corner, did Herlock, and he's now feeling the pressure from Kirby behind. Answering your question, is it best for him to hold him up? I think that's a dangerous tactic, in my opinion. I think if you were Herlock, I would say maybe try and save if you can in terms of fuel, but don't give Kirby too much of an opportunity to get by, because once he goes by you, it's very difficult to reclaim that position back. You then have to play out with the strategy and play around with it and see what you can do to get him back, because you don't want to play around with the strategy too much, because you've got too much to be focusing on in terms of your race to remain in the lead. And Herlock has done very well to recover for what was a rather mediocre beginning to his race, and now he's holding up Kirby and Barker. Kesby's closing in a little bit now, and Simon Suvic, who is running in 5th position. We've not spoken about him during the course of this one, but at least he's having a respectable one of it. And Mayhut, who's leading in the Hypercar AM class, is only 1 second still over Cherry Chen, but that has been the case for some time. And JT Tammy has a 7-second lead over David Young in the race for the LMGT3 class. And McCreary, well, he's over half a minute ahead. It's kind of a given, unless McCreary makes the daftest mistakes to throw away the win in the AMS there.
It's a great racing going on.
Sure, I think you're
Herlock out in front with Dan Kirby, Cameron Barker. Yes, Ross, pay attention to the broadcast chat. Has been mentioned in there. Dan Herlock, Dan Kirby, Cameron Barker, Ben Kesby, Timon Suvic, Johnny Gutierrez, Magnus Dahlgren, Gilles Lalonde, and John Huyan round out the top 9 in the Hypercar Pros. In the AMS, it's John Mayer, Jerry Chen, Vinicius Goncalves, Matthew Weiss, Mike Weiss, George Angelidis, who's still trying to recover, of course, and Philippe Ducati in behind that. In the GT3 Pros, it's JT Tammy, David Chun, Brian Paulbert Reyes, James Walker, Alan Holden, Matthew Overton, Elko Busenink, Brian Van Buscum, Alan Santo, and Vasilios Katarinakis, who's the first DNF out of the GT3 Pros. You can see as these guys as well, Alexander McQuarrie, Meyer, Miller and Gray leading the GT3 AMS. Now we've got Kirby running alongside Herlock down into turn 1. Barker's back on the scene at the same time. They've cleared Alan Holden there as well. Great job from him at this moment in time. Managed to remove himself without any problems at all. Herlock's under pressure. Up through the S's we're going to go now. It's going to be Kirby. It's going to be Herlock. It's going to be the run down into the bus stop. There's a close on board. Now you see the back end from Barker's picture. Kirby looking up the inside. No. Herlock gives him no room at the end there, Tom. And that's kind of what we should have seen from some of the other incidents we've had.
Yeah, well, that was Herlock just taking his line and defending the position through there. And we've got more pistols going on as they go through. JT Tammy, who's been lapped though in the GT, needs to stay out of this. We'll find out soon of who has come into the pit lane. Looking on the timing pages, it looks like George Angelidis is in, as is Timon Suvik. Suvik, who is running in 5th position in the Hypercar Pro class, has come in for his second stop, James.
From all of these big guys as well. At the moment, Kesby's closing in. They're fighting. Kesby 5.3 back at this moment in time as well. If they're not careful, Ross, Kesby's going to be on the scene. It could be a 4-car fight for the front of the Hypercars, which was kind of what we expected from the front 4 anyway, because they are the biggest hitters in this race. But Kesby closing in down to 4.6 at the moment.
Yeah, and we were just discussing that a little bit here. Obviously, Herlock had his big rally, and is he heading into the pits? Yes, he is. It's a little bit early, so this might be going back to that kind of with the strategy we were talking about and the way that he was able to catch Kirby. It looked like that might have been a bit of a fuel strategy. So while Herlock was flat out, we had Kirby and presumably his teammate Cameron holding back a little bit. So now we've got Kesby in there too. He's going to be teamed up here with Herlock, so we'll see how many more laps the two CMS Pro drivers are going to be able to go. They might be able to squeeze out 1 or 2 more beyond what these guys are going, especially with as much as they back their pace off. So we're going to see some strategy unfold about halfway through this race.
These guys are going to be going for it here as well. That was obviously what we saw earlier on with Kirby doing what we could presume was some little bit of fuel saving in there as well, extending that stop. You see another one on the right hand side going into pit lane at the moment as well. But these guys, John Mayer, Jerry Chen, motoring on for the lead of the Hypercar AMS. Jerry Chen sat in the 963. It's a 963 battle, the battle of the drivers, but they are on the same team, Tom. How are they going to fight here either? Are they going to fight being on the same Mercury Mistral team?
Well, it won't be too long before either of them pits in. If I was the second place driver, Jerry Chen, I would consider pitting in this lap, because they'll be coming up to back markers very, very shortly. It needs to perhaps do what Ben Kesby did. When Ben Kesby was closing in on the top 3, he realised that if he pitted in on the lap that he did, he could potentially gain some time instead of having to navigate his way through back markers like Kirby, Barker and Herlock were doing. So Kesby's playing an absolute blinder here by pitting in at the time, which is just done now, to close down the advantage of which those top 3 had.
Absolutely. I think they've got to be a little bit. They've got to be a little bit careful of Kesby. Kesby managed to jump Herlock as well. Yeah, Kesby's got into 3rd, and he's into 3rd by 16 seconds. Ross, that's a meteoric gap. Is that down to tyres? Do we think?
I would. Yeah, that's. I mean, obviously the pit stop time is quite a bit different. You might be right there that he might have changed up an axle, which if you're doing that, you probably want to do, I would say, rears, just so that way you've got a little bit more grip there. But again, it comes down to what you're able to manage with your car. You generally want. Whoa, what is happening there? Look at that, Jerry Chen with the leapfrog. That was pretty exciting, just sneaking by his teammate there. I'm not sure if that was planned or what, but certainly made officials running there at the line very excited. Yeah, so they're in now, taking their stop. They, as you and Tom were saying, they don't really have much coming at them in the way of Goncalves or either of the Bias brothers. So they're taking their time, just kind of working on team strategy. And just kind of affecting this race here. As you see, I believe it's John Leon who's now leaving the pits there. He's a little bit ways down from the rest of the field. I'm kind of surprised. He just did not have a good start to the race. Way back in 9th position, I believe that's the back end of the hypercars for the pro teams. So he's got a bit of a struggle. And going back to Kesby here. So yeah, he's 2 seconds behind Barker. and Barker's kind of fallen away from Kirby a little bit there. So they've spread out a wee bit. I'm curious to see how Kurlock's able to come back. I think, yeah, you're right. I think it's a matter of tires where he's changed that up. We'll see if he's able to affect that kind of rallying pace we saw earlier on, if he's just going to try and gun it to close those gaps up again.
Yeah, absolutely. Kesby 28.6 pit time, 45.4 for Herlock pit time as well. It definitely does seem like tyres there. Johnny Young has not been in the 2 minutes for 2 minutes, but we'll give that bit of a kick in a minute and bring you up to date with the times that are going to be on the board here. You can see Kirby out in front by 5.2 seconds over Barker, and then Barker's got 2.6 to Kesby, who's got another 12 seconds back from to Herlock. The Gutierrez behind that as well, Subic. So it is going to be about Kesby closing in Barker at the moment here, Tom. And Ben Kesby, well, he could be in second place before he knows it here if he carries on this charge.
Well, Ben Kesby had to fight his way past the GTO busing because they collided through the heel section of the boot. They lost some time there. We're looking at Ryan Polbert Reyes in third place in front of James Walker, who's continuing to close in. They're quite some way off David Young, who made the most strategies, up in second place, but Jay Tatami is still the one running away with it. And Jen and Maher are the two in Hypercam who have been at it since the very beginning.
Yeah, they swapped over on pit lanes there. Chen out in front at the moment, with John Mayer in behind. I thought that was the other way round, unless I'm going insane. There's the swap over. So Mayer has now gone through, and Jerry Chen goes back into second place. And there was a swap there, Ross, but they've clearly decided that John Mayer is the quicker of the two.
We don't see that a lot, do we?
No, very much. We definitely don't. I think Ross is gone. Where are you, Ross? Are you there?
Oh no, I was just kind of, sort of watching, letting you and Tom sort of have that one. But yeah, Jerry is very likely. I mean, he's admitted that John is fast, and he's proven it on paper for sure, and certainly in some of the races. So my guess is that he's going to kind of just play follow the leader, let John sort of plow the row, I guess you could say, and just follow him behind and affect team strategy. Who knows what they'll do when it comes to the end? I mean, Jerry's not one to really ruffle feathers, but he might get kind of a bug and decide that when it comes to the last segment of the race that they'll have a bit of rubbing elbows and see what they can do to have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. What they don't want to be doing though is unfortunately taking each other out. They want to stay well away from that situation. Taking a teammate out is never good. There's a battle down in third of GT3s between Reyes and Walker at the moment. They're only 3 tenths apart, 2 tenths apart at the moment as well. They're very, very close indeed as the Akuri Mistral boys carry on fighting. And there is the battle there with Reyes and Walker. Reyes in the Porsche, Walker in that Aston Martin Vantage. Walker's doing a great job here, Tom, at the moment in time, closing in behind Paulbert Reyes as well, and Alan Holden not too far back either.
Well, Walker's going for the inside here of the Porsche up ahead as he has to tuck back in. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. We'll find out who that is. That's just had a moment, but Walker not able to move at this minute. And Ben Kesby is in the pit lane. And is that another pit stop for Kesby, or did he have to go through the pit lane? Because it looked like he may have had to go through the pit, unless it was just a glitch on the time in front.
Entry line there, so unless Kesby was hugging the inside there, big, he's got to be careful. Yeah, that was a definite close battle there as well. Kesby now 3.7 back. He has lost a little bit of time here as well. From Ryan Paulbert Reyes and Walker still fighting out. I believe that may have been George trying to go through, but we're going to find out if there was a little bit of an incident here between George and Alan Santo. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I don't like the look of this. Oh, George.
Yeah, he just lost it.
Yeah, Santo lost it on his own there, I think, as well. Can't really do a lot there, Tom, when the car in front loses you there as well.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time in this race that we've seen that. And now we're looking at Walker, who's got in front of Reyes since we went into that replay. Dan Hurlock goes through to lap them. But now this is a really nice fight actually between the Aston Martin and the Porsche, who are heading through, entering the boot now. But it feels like Walker is the faster of the two drivers, and he has been for a number of laps.
Yeah, he's doing a great job in that car, of course, for Mr. Walker. He's doing a stunning run in that Aston Martin. We know the Aston Martin's been quite quick over a period of time at the same time. So fair play to him as we're going to go to a replay here as well.
This is the overtake from Walker.
Yeah, Walker on the inside going into the bus stop. Job done. He got that done before they even got there. Reyes just slops right in behind him. Nice sensible situation there as well. Neither car then had a spin. Herlock goes round the outside, shoots round there without any dramas, and he's still trying to chase down the back of Kesby. 5.3 seconds back, 4.8, 4.5. So the gaps are starting to spread a little bit at the front of the hypercars. There's another one who just cleared, pulled back Reyes as well. It looked like Philippe Picardi sets up for the drama. We'll try and have a look back at that a little bit later on. Busanic coming out of pit lane. Oh, there is the replay of Vinicius Goncalves. I don't like the look of that car. That's Stephen Miller.
He was just caught out.
Yeah, he got caught by the speed there, Ross, didn't he?
Nice save, though. He was able to catch it before it went into the barrier and straighten it out, so props to him on that.
Absolutely, great job from him. But you can see now Holden closing in behind Paul Reyes as well. A little bit concerning here, Tom. Paul Reyes going backwards quicker than he's going forwards at the moment.
Yep, and he got well out of shape through the inner loop. He managed to gather it all up, and through when Holden, who has taken advantage there, and it just needs to be on the taste because that's a hypercar going through. I can't see who that is actually. Who's gone through?
John Huyan, I think.
Is it John Huyan? Yeah, so he's gone through the pair of them now. But yeah, Reyes going backwards here after a strong beginning to the race.
Jump to the replay, Philippe Picardi. There you go. There's the turn.
He's going to get the car stopped. Simple as that.
Yeah, coming too much speed there. Philippe Picardi runs off. We've broken the halfway point. In fact, we're coming up to lap 14 near enough, give or take, on the left-hand side there as well. So we're going to find out. Mike Price goes along. It's very, very wide here. Still trying to get to grips with this hypercar. Ross as well. He's been very...
Ooh, that's...
Cardi again, just speaking of getting grips with the cars. Yeah, they've the Bice brothers have they've struggled a bit. I mean, they've had strong moments here and there. You know, they've taken a fight to George and Jerry and some of their teammates throughout the season, but they haven't been able to affect the overall race pace that they really wanted to. But I would say, as far as going in from GTs, which they've run.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, that was Ducati going through that GT. Sorry to interrupt you, Ross, but that was very, very close between that GT and Ducati, who was coming through on the inside. And I'll let you finish off what you were saying.
No, you're right. That was just catching that in the background. Yeah, Philippe just really needs to hang on there. I know that he's definitely hungry for a battle here with Mike Bice, and he's putting himself in kind of precarious situations. He needs to calm down and keep those tires underneath him. But Aston can get very snappy as we watch that replay. Oh, yeah. That was with
coming
Matthew
from?
Overton.
Where did he think he was going to go? I didn't quite understand that. I don't know if he expects the car, that poor car on the outside isn't blinking Harry Potter. He can't just puff away and disappear, can he? That was definitely a sort of a punt to pass, should we say, from Ducati. He's still sliding all over the place. It just does not look like he's got control of this car at all, Philippe Ducati. He looks like he's struggling. And I'm wondering as well whether or not the likes of Paul Reyes seems to be going backwards. I'm wondering whether or not there's a tyre situation going on there. Philippe Ducati is sliding around like Bambi on ice at the moment. I wonder if he's got a bit of a tyre problem as well, Russ, because 39 laps in and it looks like we're losing people quite a lot here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the way that the balance of the cars is going. I wasn't expecting Reyes to fall back as much as he had, but I do know that 992 certainly can start to drip back as that... Oh, no, and I think he just had a spin in that 992. But you can definitely lose it. That's where the Porsche doing Porsche things kind of comes from. It's definitely a factor. Same thing with the 296, it's one of those 50-50 split cars where you can definitely see some of the performance shift. Just kind of looking here, you're seeing Adam Gray, who's kind of been quiet throughout this race. He's running back at the AMS, getting passed by this group here. So Holden is trying to track down James Walker, who's kind of buoying the back end of that was going to say Greyhound Racing, Dark Thunder Racing. Yeah, JT Tammy is up at the front of this with Junt chasing him. These two are going to be pretty close on each other as we go to a replay.
Yeah, we'll have a look now as well. I believe this is Philip Ducardi, is it? Nope. Ryan Paul players. Oh, Ducardi's in there. He decided that was not going to be his battle this time, Tom, and decided that Ducardi could go through without hopefully trying to kick him.
Yeah, and that's more time lost there for Reyes. He's currently sitting in 5th place, but he can't sit too comfortably with Overton breathing him down. There goes, well, that was James Walker who's been overtaken by one of the hypercars. He is still ahead of Alan Hollander. And we're looking at Kesby. This is in 3rd place. He's coming up behind. I'm trying to see who that is. It's got to be one of the hypercar AMs that is in the way. Is that Goncalves who's in front? Goncalves who's 3rd in the hypercar AM.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye out.
Lalonde.
Yeah, Lalonde there ahead of Uyan. Jump in the corner. I recognise that. Dan Herlock puffs up a load of gravel. He is closing onto the back of Ben Kesby. Kesby does look like he's stuck in behind that hypercar at the moment in time. He just cannot make him through, and he needs that hypercar out the way as quickly as he possibly can, because Herlock's coming at him, and Lorena Knox is now 3.3 seconds from Barker to Kirby, 7.2 from Kesby to Barker. Kesby's lost a lot of time. Is that to do with traffic? McQuarrie leading the GT3s is now in pit lane. 20 laps to go here of the 60-lap race at the Glen. Of course, we did lose a lap due to the pace lap, but we will be adding on. So let's see what goes on as we're now into this middle section. Is this the section, Ross, where you're sitting back thinking, right, fuel, I've got to be here, I've got to be doing this, I've got to be doing that, to make sure you don't have to have a splash and dash at the end?
Well, I think that's exactly what the CMS Pro Red were looking at doing when Herlock and Kesby were both able to catch them. Just being able to close up from their incidents earlier on in the race, and now they're on top of each other, while Kirby and Barker are effectively kind of walking away from it. As these two battle it out, I would imagine that gap is going to open up probably to around 10 seconds, unless they're able to kind of do this cleanly and then utilize each other to catch up. But I think they're going to be looking at that strategy. Certainly Herlock is just, when in doubt, go flat out, and Kesby might be on a similar strategy. I don't know if that's going to work for him. Certainly if the rain were going to come into play, I think that would help Kesby a lot, as we kind of got comms overboard. We were seeing that it looks like the rain is probably going to hold off. At most we might see sprinkles from the perimeter of that storm front, but I think it's going to come too late into the race. So yeah, these two are probably going to be the feistiest here. I don't know that that CMS Pro Red is going to do much to compromise their race. They're just going to kind of hold station, I think, 1-2, just like what we're seeing with Mayer and Chen. So I think that this is going to be the fight. So unless they're able to affect some really strong pace into the end and overcome that fuel differential, CMS Pro Red is going to be able to hold on and take this thing for the podium.
Yeah, well, this is the battle with Herlock and Kesby. You can see them on your screen now as well, up through the S as they go, leading the way, coming into the bus stop. Herlock thinks about it. Kesby says no. Through the bus stop they go out the other side. Kesby still managing to hold on ahead of Herlock here. Through the right-hander they go down into the left now. This is going to be a battle, Tom, that I feel could rage on as well for a while, especially if they've both got one more pit stop to do.
That was what I was going to allude to. Kesby got held up big time there. He very nearly ran into the Aston Martin, and Herlock is right up the gearbox of him. But that's so easy going to be the end of Kesby's race there, the way he had to lift off the throttle when they went round the GT3 Aston Martin. And we've got a pit stop over for the 023 Ducati, who's now in. It doesn't feel like a long time ago since he was last in. But yes, there will be another round of pit stops to come involving the top four, and that's going to play a major role in who's going to win this.
Absolutely. I think you are right. I think the pit stop's going to play a massive part. These guys have got to get in and get their stops done and get out again once more. We did see, obviously, Kesby had a long, quicker stop than Herlock last time around. Paul Reyes is coming in pit lane. I'm not surprised at that. He was sliding around like he had ice skates on instead of tyres in this race, coming in towards lap 40, number 3. So hold on. Here as well, Walker and Holden still battling it out down in the GT3 Pros with Meyer, Miller, McQuarrie, Gray in behind that in the end. So it's all starting to get a little bit settled. Herlock gets held up by that Porsche. Round he goes. He loses a bit of time there, Ross, for Dan Herlock. But is he going to be that worried knowing how much pace he's got?
No, right now he's got his eyes set on a 3rd place at least. And he's going to put the pressure on Kesby. I mean, there's not a ton of love lost between those two. I mean, no major rivalries. They definitely respect each other. But I don't think Herlock's going to make life easy for him. As we kind of cut over, I'm sorry, I was looking at a different camera here. I was watching the McLarens go, and it looks like there might be a little bit of rain coming down as it switches over to one of the in-car cameras. So, yeah, I was seeing some wipers going. So this could change things up. This could extend some of the timing on the track as we see the pace open up, because this is a lap-based race. It is not timing-based. And yeah, it's going to change things as we see Reyes in the pits, and I think he might have already started his stop before the rain started coming down. This will be interesting to see how teams react to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Find out here. Fulbert Reyes comes out of the pit lane. You can see the GT3s. Are they going to be diving in? Alan Holden ducks into pit lane as well. James Walker carries on. He's still in there, sitting in 3rd in the GT3 AMS at the moment. But Kirby, Barker, a little bit of rainfall. How heavy is the rainfall? Let's jump on board with Dan Herlock if we can. See if there's any spray coming out at the moment here. Is there any kick up from these cars? Well, the window wipers are on. Ross, what do we reckon? You'll be better to answer this, and sorry Tom, but yeah, Ross, you will be. How long on track evolution before we stick in reins on?
Hard to say, because it's a lot of it will depend on just how much is coming down. Doesn't look like it's too much yet. Once you start seeing some spray show up, then you know for sure that it's going to be a wet race scenario. The all-wheel drive cars that are out there and the hypercars are definitely going to be loving this. Look for Kesby to potentially open up some of that gap if it starts to get just slick enough that Herlock kind of has some greasy moments. This could bring Kesby right back in to that top fight if he hasn't lost too much position to them. I mean, there are enough laps left. Keep an eye on this one.
Can we bring the tower up a minute? Because I've got showing on the timing. Barker's only 1.8 behind Kirby. I'd be interested to know he was out at 3.5, 4 seconds. Whether or not Kirby's had some form of drama there to lose 3 seconds to Cameron Barker, because he was out in front by a comfortable 4.5 seconds just a couple of laps ago. He's now 1.7. So I'm not quite sure if there was any drama for Kirby, but it does look like, Tom, he's lost about 3 seconds somewhere.
It does feel that way, but you can see that they're navigating through the traffic again. As is Barker through that hypercar. I think it's a hypercar AM that he's gone through, and it'll be a GT next. So it could be that Kirby got stuck behind some form of traffic, and Barker is experiencing a similar thing. And he's lost a few tenths, if not about half a second through that. So that's going to give Kirby a little bit more of a reprieve for the time being. But they've still got one more pit stop to make regardless, so it's going to come down to who's prepared to take the risk. Well, if you're Dan Herlock and you're wanting to go for the victory, is it worth sticking a set of wets on?
What do you reckon, Ross?
I think it's going to just depend on how much rain keeps coming down. Yeah, I don't know. It certainly makes things exciting.
It definitely does. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hold on, because we've done a little bit of spits of rain now as well. So we're going to find out what's going on. The wipers have eased up just a little bit, so it has been just a little bit of a sprinkle. It does look like it has stopped raining on board with Dan Kirby in the bottom right-hand corner, and it does look like it's stopped there. That could really now mix it up, Tom, if anybody was caught out and ended up on the wet tyres.
well, there was only 2 drivers that went on the wets. Ducati was one of them, the other being Reyes, who was running 4th or 5th on the before he came in for wets. Well, he's really taken the gamble too far, I'm afraid, those two. So they're going to be dropping down the order big time unless the rain really comes back at a rate of knots. But that is going to, yeah, it's going to really trigger a lot of pit lane activity. And we've got a yellow flag in set T3. And Ducati, with him being well, Ducati and Miller were reported we've been told that they've been off the circuit, those two. Ducati, I think, will need to head back to the pit lane because if he has to accept defeat on that occasion. Kirby and Barker, 1.5 seconds between each other. What can they do in the remaining laps before they pit in?
Problem you got is that they're both on the same team. I'd be very interested to know whether or not they're going to do anything. This is Stephen Miller. That's an Aston Martin 23. Whoever that was has just gone and kissed Miller's bottom. And unfortunately sent him round there. I wonder if that was JT. You know?
I think it was McQuarrie.
Paul Reyes is DNF there. We'll have a look back and see what he got himself up to, but he was sliding before he went into pit lane, Ross, and I think with rain tyres he was sliding even more.
Well, it looked like he had come back in to potentially deal with them, but I'd hate for it to be a situation where he just felt that a bad strategy call might have just cost him the race, because if that were the case, he would still have a chance to earn quite a few more points, but he pulled into his pit stop, and then he just kind of hit the eject button. So that's a real shame if that's the case, because I mean he was so strong, especially early on in the race, and yeah, just you'd hate to see that. There was an incident also between it looked like I believe it was the Acura of George Angelides and then one of the 9X8s. I want to say that was probably Gilles Lalonde.
Yeah, I think there was a big, massive overspeed there as well. Paul Reyes did DNF. We'll see if we can find out why on that one. Ryan DNF due to back injury at work and is having a pretty bad spasm. Tried to see it wet and it played out. I would have stayed. Oh, okay. So he's having a issue with his back. He's back at work. So get well soon, Mr. Paul Reyes. Don't overdo it if you don't have to. Not change the world in a sim race at Watkins Glen. Your health is more important. Please listen to that and go and chill out for the evening now. Or get some ice on it, or heat pack, or go and sit in a nice hot bath, which is what I do when I wake up close to pains with every day, to be honest with you. Philip Ducati is now DNF'd as well. Both people who were sliding around like Bambi on ice before they went in the pits has now both DNF'd their Tom at the same time.
That's both of them gone from this, as Ducati, who has had a really lacklustre race, it has to be said, in the pits and out, along with Reyes and Keterakis. And we've got more pit stops going on. Cameron Barker is the latest coming. He was running about a couple of seconds off the lead of Dan Kirby. Let's see if he can try and make an undercut work. Kirby has to get the hammer down if he's going to come away with the race win this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think... well, Kirby's under much stress there, Ross. He's not exactly like he's new to leading a race, is it?
I mean, this is definitely going to be a team play for them. I mean, they both started up at the front, and I'm sure that Cameron would want to be a little bit closer to him on this one. And I agree with you. I don't know exactly what had happened there, where Barker was falling away or was catching up. I want to say that a lot of it was based off of fuel strategy. But at this point, Barker's falling way back because of the pit stop, so I'm imagining Kirby's going to be in here pretty shortly, and that should be the last time that I think he needs to come in.
Yeah, it should be as well. You can see Herlock got out in front of Kesby this time at the pit stop, so Kesby down in 4th, Herlock now in 3rd. That gap, unfortunately for Kesby, has gone the wrong way over the last lap or so. It was 1.6 seconds. It's now out to 3.1. As Dan Kirby now comes in pit lane. It's Kirby and Barker. Barker's 50 seconds back at the moment as well. So we're going to find out what goes on here with Dan Kirby and whether or not Cameron Barker's going to be able to get there, Tom.
This is a vital moment in the race now where Kirby has to make this stop work. Barker had a really nice stop ahead of Herlock and Kesby. So unless Kirby makes the best of pit stops here, I think we could well see Barker complete an undercut. But this is where Kirby's crew are going to be put to the true test here. Barker's going to be on warmer tyres when Kirby comes out, so Kirby needs to have some form of margin when he exits the pit lane. See a few more cars exiting the pits. Kirby hopes they won't get held up behind them. And there is, you just saw Barker in the background, and Kirby's going to retain the lead here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be by a good 4 or 5 seconds, if not more. Yeah, it's over 4 seconds already. Barker's going to come round at the bottom of your screen. There he goes. But Kirby out in front by 4.4. Dan Herlock hitting behind that. He's got Kesby locked in at the moment. Kesby's stuck currently 1.4 seconds back behind 2 back markers there. Unfortunately for him, he's going to have to sit back and just wait. Meyer leading the Hypercar AMS with Jerry Chen in second place, and then David Shunt leading the GT3s, unless he has some drama, maybe having it with Alexander McQuarrie, who's leading the GT3 AMS. Both men, well, to be fair, are pretty much a shoo-in to win this one as well, coming into the final. We'll be breaking into the final 10 very, very shortly. I look forward to seeing how this one rolls out. 3.9 Kirby Baker, 2.3 Kesby Herlock. Started sort of slowing down a little bit, Tom. It's almost like the what is it? The spark before the firework goes bang.
Yeah, and that's not played into Kesby's hands really. The last round of pit stops, and now it looks consigned to a 4th place finish. Herlock 12.5 seconds off the lead, off 2nd place Cameron Barker. Barker is getting the gap down to Kirby on this lap, which is no surprise, but I think Kirby's going to do just about enough to take the victory, bar any traffic that gets in the way, which I think Kirby is more than capable enough of managing.
I do fully agree with you. I think it's going to be where he is at this moment in time for Mr. Kesby. I think it's going to be whether or not how far up the road Herlock's going to get. 11.9, 11.8. I think he's too far back. Ross to make an impact on Cameron Barker before the end of the race.
No, that gap isn't coming down very quickly. I mean, they have 11 laps to go, and there's no threat of rain coming in where that might be able to spice things up. I guess the best that you can hope for is just an endurance race type of situation where, you know, something complicates the situation with Kirby or Barker, you know, coming in with lap traffic. It's certainly not unheard of. We've seen it plenty of times throughout this series, just in this year alone. Sometimes even on the last lap where it's created an issue. So you don't ever wish that on anybody, but it's always a factor coming into this. So I'd say for the podium, it's probably set as it is, unless the race decides otherwise.
Yeah, I do agree with you as well. I think it's going to really mix it up. Angelina's sitting in 5th in the Hypercar AMS. That's not a bad recovery considering he was plumb last behind all the field, and I do mean all the field, at the end of lap 1. So George battling his way back into 5th place. Great job. Got his head down, Tom, and was just motoring on.
Exactly that. And Angelides just going through one of the GTs into the 90-degree right-hander. 3 seconds is the margin between the lead for the Hypercar and between John Maher and Jerry Chen. And Goncalves, who is looking comfortable for a podium position as well. We've got David Yunt in the pits also in the GTs. So perhaps it's not over yet in that respective battle for the honours in that. So that's worth something to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, absolutely. Give the time to tell a little bit of a refresh in a minute as well, just because Dalton has not been in the pits for 4.5 minutes. As Angelina is still with Mike Bice in behind him, going past that GT3. That's the lone Lexus, of course, of Peter Mayer, who is out on the racetrack as well in the lone Lexus, sitting in 2nd in LMGT3 AMS at this moment in time. So keep an eye out of what goes on and see who and where they come out. It's going to be a fascinating 10 laps, Ross. I think this could be a battle of who has got enough fuel, who's likely to have enough fuel, and is there anyone we really think has got a splash and dash?
Yeah, it's you bring up an interesting point, and I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. This is the only race in the season where it's a laps-based race. So 60 laps of the Glen, you can't rely on whatever the timing would be to try and work out what your effective pace is and being able to kind of work backwards from there. You have to try and figure out what the optimal pace of the leaders is going to be and work off of that to plan your fuel strategy. And if you're in the GT category, that becomes very difficult because you have to figure out what's happening with Hypercar. You're not going to run all 61 of those laps before this thing ends, so you have to work it backwards from there. And that's why the rain, potentially, if it were to come into play, which unfortunately doesn't look like it will, that can mix things up because you're no longer going to a timing number, you're going to a lap number, and that can really spread things out. Now, looking at these guys here, you've got...
Sorry, 2 seconds. Has Kirby made a mistake? He has just lost over a second and a little bit, and Barker
He's
has
in
just
traffic.
closed right up there, and he is sat in traffic, but that was a big old drop on time. You literally saw it absolutely plummeting, and Cameron Barker is close here, Ross. Sorry, carry on.
Now, this is a good point because now they're not only in GT traffic, but they're in the Hypercar AM traffic. So it's a little bit more difficult because these cars are kind of right in there with your pace, so you have to be able to get around as we go to a replay.
Yeah. So is Kirby? I think this could be where Kirby got held up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, going into the bus stop. He can't take that line. I think it's the exit.
This goes back to what I was saying earlier, James, about being stuck behind traffic at this point in the circuit, and all the time you could lose all the way through that section, and that's what's cost Kirby the amount of time he has lost.
Yeah, you can see it going back the other way now. Back out, he went touch back out on 1.5. It is 1.5 now. So Kirby tucked in, and he's gone past the traffic. So good job. Down Kirby. It was the closest battle. I believe it is the closest battle out on the circuit. Nobody else really in touching distance of each other, Tom, and I think that's quite a surprise with sort of 7 laps to go.
Well, you never know, because you could well see 1 or 2 drivers under fueling. They do, burn the fuel to the brim with these. That's how much time you could lose if you overfuel these machines, no matter whether it's a hypercar or a GT. But you can just see that has to be Kirby being held up there in the traffic, which is not ideal. Going through GTs at that point of the circuit, getting held up on the racing line, is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely is.
And there's more GTs in the way.
Yeah, Kirby's there. I think it's Angelina's in front of us.
Tom, you were talking about burning up the fuel. I was looking at Junt. He was actually in the pits for over a minute, which seemed extraordinarily long for coming into the last part of the race. Unless his tires were really worked out, that seems like it might be too much fuel that he would have been putting on there. Couldn't have just been tires.
If you look at the gap between him and Holden, it's only 3 seconds, but we're looking at Kirby, who's putting a lap on the Hypercar AM car. He's got through that no issue whatsoever. Some amount of time before Cameron Barker makes his move. He should be able to do it on the back straight before the inner loop. Will he do it before the inner loop though? He'll hope that is the case, because he'll not want to be held up through that part of the course. I don't think the Hypercar RAM is going to be too kind here. Let's see.
It's George.
Yeah, he won't make it easy for sure. At least he's not going to just let it go unless it presents itself that way.
I'm not even going to go in the blue flags, Ross. Otherwise, I would end up getting myself in trouble.
Well, he's chasing that other Vice brother down, so he doesn't want to compromise himself to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think he's up through. Yeah, he did let me know that he'd watched the last broadcast, Ross, that me and you were talking about as well. So, yeah. Good old George. I think he has now not moved out of the way, but I think his Barker's has cleared through, and Barker now sitting in second, 1.7 seconds back. However, in the Hypercar AM, you can see Mayer and Chen from the Ikuri Mistral team still leading the way. I don't think they're really going to fight here whatsoever. JT Tammy and James Walker, I doubt very much they're going to fight in the GT3s. They're in the same team as well. So it's basically Hypercar AMS and GT3 Pros are probably locked up where they are there. I wouldn't expect either of them, to be honest with you, Tom, this close to the end, to be trying to battle your teammate, and probably the Pros as well, to be honest, in the Hypercars.
Yeah, well, this is the intent, but I mean, do you settle back or do you just go for it when you know the opportunity is there? Well, I can tell you that Kirby got held up by that GT. There's no doubt about it that Aston Martin got in the way. Kirby had to lift off the throttle to ensure he didn't run into him, and that's going to give Barker an opportunity to close right in. Does he get in front of the Aston Martin before the inner loop? He does, but he also gets boxed in by another GT, and he's having to go across the curb there, and Barker will be annoyed with that.
Yeah, but then again, that's what we were talking about, Ross, isn't it? Planning your next corner if there's traffic ahead, and unfortunately, he just didn't look like he planned that corner, as Alan Holden has got David Shunt tucked in right behind him, and I do mean literally right behind him as well. I see the cars coming towards you, and there is Shunt in that Mercedes, going to be chasing down Holden in that Ferrari 296 here. Do love the Mercedes, it sounds beautiful, it does got some roughing behind it as well, but here he goes up the inside of Alan Holden down into turn one. It's going to be Shunt's going to be through. Holden's not going to be managing to hold on to that one, and David Shunt goes through there, Ross. Great overtake from David Shunt in that Mercedes.
Yeah, I think he's got tires underneath him. I'm pretty sure that those in front of him did not take tires on their last stop, which is what put him, because he was sitting second behind Tammy, not too far behind, came in and lost a few places, but I think he was gambling on, let me put some fresh tires on here, I think I can make that delta up. And right now he's got Walker in his sights, who's just a few seconds up the road. I don't know if he's going to clear that 17-second gap to Tammy, though, once he catches him.
That's a big ask, isn't it? Because he's got 4 laps, so that's never going to happen. If he does that now, I would definitely, from David Shunt, go and put some lottery numbers on.
Well,
that's,
like we said, never count him out.
Walker, I think he'll get. Tammy, I don't think he will. Too far.
No, he would need a moment, but Elko Busenik had a moment going through the boot, so and that was right in front of some of the hypercar traffic. So I think that if you see any more of that happening, there's always a chance that you could have a late race incident that just totally changes the complexity of the race.
Yeah, you can see Hypercar Pro, CMS Pro 1-2 in the Hypercar AMS, the Curie Mistral 1-2 there as well. Thanks very much for that, as it's just gone and cleared it. In the GT3s, JT Tammy and James Walker, that's the Dark Thunder Racing 1-2. And of course we don't have teams down in the AMS, but Alexander McQuarrie has battled his way back onto the lead of the AMS as well, after being in first, then he went down to fourth, then he went to third, up through the order, now he's sitting in first again for Alexander McQuarrie. So good race from him, he's managed to get himself back currently at the moment in time to the head of the field in the GT3 AMS, where he started from. You see down in the bottom right corner, that is on the nose of that Mercedes with that lovely animated image on the front there. Coming into the bus stop we go. It's the way you want to do it. He's a lot quicker through that little section. Now through the right-hander he goes as well. Is he going to be able to make this? This is going to be very, very interesting. As I said, I think he'll get Walker, but I don't think, unless Tammy has some major dramas, I don't think he's going to get him. I think, to be honest with you, Tom, this could be done as early as the next corner.
It could be done. He's on so much better tyres compared to Walker here, so I expect Walker to really have to get his elbows out here if he wants to keep holding second place. There aren't that many laps left, but Jan with so much more confidence, better traction on the exit of the toe corner, and he's going to go through even before they get to heels, so that's that job done.
100%. Through he goes. I think it ain't going to be long here, Ross, before he starts pulling away here, especially with that hypercar in behind. That could even be Gilles Lalonde in the 9X8, isn't it? And his teammate there as well, both in the same livery, when I remember what the teammate is called. Ross?
For Gilles Lalonde?
Yeah.
Oh, that's with him and Johnny Gutierrez on the Bad Day Racing.
Peugeot 9X8. Thanks, Ross, for that. Comes in, it saves me. Yeah, he did. He literally popped himself up when I was desperately crying and fumbling around on my screen to try and find it. But there we go. He's here and he's done a great job as well. I love a couple of hours I get to spend my Saturday with Mr. Ross Smith. I don't know how that's for. I'm so blessed on the VWSC this season. I know, Ross.
I'd agree with that. It's a good statement. Yeah.
I agree as well. So lucky. Right, moving on as well. You can see the leaders coming through. Basically, I personally think here, Tom, as we go to a replay, let's get this replay out of the way once again. That's Alan Holt. Oh, dude.
Ooh.
Why are you turning in? Can you not see?
Is that Holden turning in, or is that the hypercar cutting across too late or too early?
No.
I think Holden maybe was. He was just outbraking him by so much, and he was anticipating that Jewel was going to be further up, probably.
Absolutely. We've got CMS Pro leading the way in the hypercars there, and in the hypercar AMS with John Mayer. It's Curie Mistral leading the 1-2. GT3's Dark Thunder Racing 1-2, and Query leading the way in. To be honest with you, Tom, I cannot see any of the top three of the Hypercar Pros, Hypercar AMS top 2 or GT3 top 2 changing position before the end here.
We'll see soon enough. There's a spin involving the 47 at the entry to the boot. Who's that? It's Bussink who's gone round there, and he's had a rather quiet race up until that point, really, Bussink, and it looks on course to... Bussink is the driver that is in 7th place in the LMGT3 class. And David Young, well, he's getting the gap down on Tammy a little bit, but this is by no means a gap that's going to be able to overhold. Now we've got a battle for the lead here. There is Kirby and Barker going through on Bussink, and Bussink has got in the way there of Barker. That's not going to please Cameron one bit, and he's got through at last, but that was a little bit too late there for him to get by, and now he's going to... Oh, there's Bussink dropping it on the exit of that hairpin, but he was able to gather it all up.
Still held up Cameron Barker. I think that's why Kirby, 3.4 seconds, is just all of a sudden plummeted down to a second here. We've got the Hypercar AMS not very far apart as well. Right, so what do we reckon on the situation of fighting? Are the Curie Mistrals and the CMS Pros and the Dark Thunders really going to have a fight with each other before the end of the race?
Thunder, I don't think we're going to see anything, but for these two on screen, I wouldn't put it past them to put it on there. I mean, Jerry Chen is certainly a driver, and they have the Drivers' Championship to think about on top of the teams. They're not going to do anything to really go at each other to the point where they're taking one another out, but it doesn't mean that they aren't going to look for an opportunity and try and take it. Cameron Barker's definitely going to be doing that because he's in a spot where he can put the screws to Daniel Kirby. I think that they've got enough of a buffer. I mean, you can't even see Herlock on screen through there as they come up through the S's. So I think Cameron Barker is going to be able to take some of that pace that he's got and put it on Kirby as much as he can, assuming that all of the things kind of play out. You know, they've got enough fuel to the end. He's gonna give him a run for his money, I think.
I don't know if Barker will. I've got to be honest. I don't think he will.
They're race car drivers, James.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just wondering this, Ross. He's 69 points back in the championship as well. So yes, this would help him if he could take the win. And normally I would sit back and say, you know me, I'm an advocate of racing and I hate team orders and I think they should race. But I just can't see Barker doing anything crazy. Alan Holden's DNF'd himself, just been screamed in my ear. Oh, thank you. As well, unfortunately for him, on the final lap. So it's going to have a
disconnect,
look.
probably.
Yeah, we're going to go and find it. I'd be angry if I was Alan Holden and DNF's right before the end. Especially a thing that was out of my control. Starts going up through the S's. Yeah.
I think that's probably the third race in a row that's happened.
Yeah, he is going to just so there you go. Poor gentleman. So quite said in my ear. Tom, what do we reckon? Final lap of the race. Is Cameron Park is Barker going to have a go at Kirby?
No, I think it's too far back to do it. I mean, I was thinking about traffic, and now they're going through the more of the GTs, which could play a role. And Barker's got boxed in. He's got boxed in behind. That's not Stephen Miller, though.
Yeah, it's Stephen Miller.
It's Stephen Miller, yeah.
Santo's off.
Yeah, I think Santo just...
He did that to stay the way.
Yeah, I think he pooped his pants and left and decided to leave the circuit, to be honest with you, Ross. I don't think he did anything else. I think there might be a clean-up in Santo's race seat by the end of this one, to be honest with you. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are watching the last few corners. Dan Kirby, CMS Pro Red, is going to cement his place at the top of the standings. Comes into the right-hander of the hill. Now he's going to look at moving into turn number 9 here. Is he going to pull Barker all the way in? Barker, I don't think he's going to move. Kirby's not exactly going quick at this moment in time. But as he goes through the left-hander now into the penultimate corner. Stand up, take a bow. CMS Pro Red is your winner. And if it's not Cameron Barker, it's at the man himself, Mr. Dan Kirby. Over the line he goes. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. CMS Pro 1-2. Ikuri Mistral are going to be 1-2 as well. Down in the bottom right-hand corner for John Meyer and Jerry Chen. Meyer's going to come over the line, wrap up the Hypercar AMS. Great job from him. Another winner there as well. Down in the GT3s, JT Tammy is going to wrap it up through the final corner. He comes as well in that Dark Thunder Racing Aston Martin Vantage Green Machine. Through he goes. Over the line, JT Tammy, take a winner dinner. Alexander McQuarrie is going to come over as well. It's an Aston Martin winners in the GT3 AMS, and he sits back as well for Alexander McQuarrie, and he can just have a KFC for his winning there as well. Great racing, Tom, but we did kind of figure out that hypercars were not going to change. Oh, blimey, we've gone dark quick. Where have we gone, Paul? Anyway, we got. Hold on. I think we went to Daytona. Bit weird.
I think it was LaSalle. I think it was LaSalle we went to for a brief moment.
Yeah, wherever we go, we weren't in New York. So there we go. For a brief moment, ladies and gentlemen, we went back in time. Right, let's bring you up the results. Here we go. Oh, he's apologising in my ear, but it'd be even better if I get the results off him. So he's having a bit of a panic now. He's going to have less air he's already got. Dan Kirby is your winner. Cam Barker is 1 and 2. CMS Pro Red in the Hypercar Pros. Dan Hurlock, Ben Kesby in 3 and 4. Kesby there battled on the front 4. We knew it was coming, and that's how it's finished. Johnny Gutierrez, Timo Civic, Magnus Dahlgren. John Mayer taking the win. Is Security Mistral 1-2 in the Hypercar AMS as well. And then, thank you very much. With Vinicius Goncalves, Matty Bice, George Angelidis battling back to 5th. I've got to give him props because he was dead stone last behind all the field after lap 1. Great job from George. Mike Bice there in 6th with Philip Ducati, a DNF in that one. In the GT3 Pros, JT Tammy, your winner. David Jun overtaking James Walker to get the 2nd place. Walker in 3rd. Then Matty Overton, Dark Thunder Racing. Look at that. 1, 3, and 4. Oof, boys. Brian Van Buscum, Elko Busenik, Alan Holden, Alan Santo, Ryan Paulback Reyes DNF'd, and Vasilius Kataranakis DNS. I don't think we saw much of Vasilius at all, if I'm not mistaken, there as well. In the GT3 AMS, Alexander McQuarrie from Dark Thunder as well. So Dark Thunder wins 1 in the AMS, 1 in the... Well, no, because they got 1, 3, and 4 in the pros of GT3. So a great day for Dark Thunder Racing there. Peter Meyer in 2nd with Adam Gray in 3rd and Stephen Miller down in 4th. Not good day for my Valkyrie Bottas, says WSPCCK936, who's going to tell us who he is in the race, because we have no idea who you are. Much love on that one. Well, Tom, what do we think? 60 laps of the Glen. Good race?
Well, it wasn't quite the 60 hours of the Glen, was it? But
no,
yeah.
Thank God for that, to be honest, mate. I don't think I could do 60 hours of the Glen.
No, it was a solid race. Happy for Dan Kirby to take the win again. Extending his championship lead in the hypercar class. Cameron Barker, Dan Hurlock, and Ben Kesby pretty much pushing him all the way, which is the kind of race we've been after. And congratulations to all the others that have won in their respective classes. Hopefully we can hear from some of them that can join us in the booth to talk about how they've got on this evening.
We didn't have a Valkyrie in the race either, so that's why that comment's confused me even more, Mr. Smith. What do you think, Ross?
Well, we had Ducati. He was in the Valkyrie.
Briefly.
Unless it's another Finnish driver or something, James, because we do have a few Finnish drivers in the field, I believe.
I don't know. Yeah. God.
No, but
You could say it, can you? You can literally just say exactly what Paul said. Yes, Tom, we had quite a few Finnish. But anyway, moving on. Oh, dearie
some of the
me.
winners.
Oh, let's go and have a chat. Oh, with Dan Kirby, your winner. CMS Pro Red 1-2. Kirby led for pretty much most of the race. Was Barker ever going to get there? Was he ever going to get through? Or was there always going to be team orders up in CMS Pro? Dan will deny it, but I think otherwise. Let's have a chat with him. Dan Kirby, welcome in, fella.
Thank you. That was a fun race.
Yes, mate, there was. What was it like? Traffic? Bad? Anything bad about it?
Few sketchy moments, but traffic wasn't too bad. It's you just have to basically know you're gonna give up tons of time. So
Because there was a couple of occasions Cameron Barker closed right in. Now, first off, let me clarify things. Was there team orders that Barker was never going to overtake you?
no, I mean he's free to race me if he wants. But he's chill. I don't think he would have attacked me anyway. But I've never asked him not to.
Okay, do you think he would have? That was where I was going to go with that. Do you think if he was in like a mad Red Bull rage, mood, do you think he would have had a go? And could you have held him off there? Because you were getting held up in traffic quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I had the pace to cover him, but it was just pretty much my crappy luck in traffic all race. Just kept getting held up by people in bad opportune times to let people like get a run on me.
Yeah,
but
bus stop.
Yeah, and FPS is pretty sketchy sometimes.
Absolutely. Well done, Dan. Congratulations on your win there, bud. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Just the usual. Everybody here at CMS, all the admins, and everyone putting in the work to let us come race and have fun.
Okay, man. Well, take care, Dan. We'll look forward to catching you up on the next one.
Alrighty, thank you.
All right, next up, we're going to have a chat here as well with the man from Mercury Mistral. It was a 1 and 2. There was a deliberate swap. Now, was that John Mayer putting his foot down and declaring team orders? Well, let's have a chat with him now as well. John, welcome in, bud. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, guys.
So come on, tell us. Chen got in front of you in the pit stop. He then let you through. Was that team orders or was that a confession from Jerry that you were just quicker?
He didn't let me through. I drove through.
I don't know, John. We saw it. It did look like Jerry lifted quite a lot of the base of the S's to let you through on the inside.
Oh, did he? Okay. Well, yeah, I had the pace to get him, so it made it easy.
Yeah, then coming into the final laps as well, was there a conversation about not fighting, that being that close to the end?
No, we don't have a conversation at all. But yeah, he decided probably just not to press me, right? The last couple of laps, he got close, and then I was saving fuel. So then when I went full power for the last 3 laps, well, then I just drove away. So
well, it was a good job from there, mate, as well. Nice little bit of points. Could it help you in the team standings as well there?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Good old 1-2.
Yeah, you can't do any better than that, mate, as well. Well done, John. Congratulations. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, bud?
I just want to say thanks to my wife for supporting me through all this and encouraging me to go faster.
I find, John, that's always a good thing to shout out, especially if you want to sleep in the bed.
Yeah. If you want a space at the dinner table, you gotta make some concessions.
Absolutely, you got to suck up where sucking up is needed. That's what I say.
Absolutely.
Well done, John. Congratulations, bud. Take care.
You bet. Hope you guys had fun today. Thanks.
We did actually, mate. Well done. Right, now let's have a chat with the man who went and led the GT3s. It was Mr. JT Tammy. He had his teammate James Walker in behind him there as well. But on the upside for Dark Thunder Racing, it was a 1-3-4 in the LMGT3 Pros and a 1 in the AMS. So not a bad day for Dark Thunder here as well. But JT, well done, bud. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Man, it looks. Do you know what? I think out of all the cars, it probably looked a lot more fun in the GTs than it did in the hypercars.
Yeah, probably. I felt like the weight of the cars made you pretty honest in terms of trying to overdo the tires, so you could be a bit more consistent with it. Whereas the hypercars, once you start really hurting those things, it gets ugly.
It definitely did, but it was a good race for you though, right? You had fun, you enjoyed yourself, and you know, James was behind you at one point, and then Alan Holden went down the order, and then David changed tires and was coming at you like a banshee. You know, it wasn't a bad race for you though, was it?
No, it was almost spot on with the strategy I had for myself. Basically, saving tires, you know, in the opening stint, trying to stay at the front, staying out of trouble, and staying on those tires for the rest of the race. The rain scared at me, but I think that may have protected me as well. So it ended up being a very good race for me.
Yeah, I think it was. I think the rain probably scared a couple of people, mainly Philip Ducati and that as well. We went on to the wet tyres and, well, didn't carry on much after that, to be honest. But JT, listen, fella, congratulations on your win there, bud. Cements your place at the top of the standings as well. Good job overall.
Yeah, thank you. I needed it.
Well, you definitely had a good one, mate. So look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right, next up as well is the man that started in first in the GT3 AMS. Then he dropped down the order. Then he come back through because he was Superman, and he drove all the way around the Watkins Glen circuit and went and took the win, cementing his place at the top of the standings again. It's not bad evening this evening, is it? And you know what I mean? I think this could be the first time all 4 championship leaders have won their class. Don't double check me on that, but I think that is as well. And there's another one in the booth once again, Mr. Alexander McQuarrie. Alexander, welcome in, bud.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, dude, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. It was definitely a little dicey for me on the tire situation, but I was able to pull it out. So
tell us about it then. Don't just say it's dicey and not mention why. Come on, son.
I mean, like, because you know, the Peter and you know, he managed tires really well, and I just know that you know, my strategy, I had to, you know, out strategize him, you know, like fuel saving and then just tires. I mean, like towards the end of the race, I was looking at the gap. I'm like, okay, I can let off a little bit to conserve some tires so I can finish the race. But I was concerned about running out of fuel. So I mean, with the last lap left, I had like maybe about you know, 1 lap of fuel left, and I was able to finish.
Did it get lonely out there, dude? Because if I remember correctly, by about lap 20, you were like 30 odd seconds ahead of people.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I'm constantly watching the relative time. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do, adjust, whatever. But I mean, it's mostly, you know, the hypercar traffic. I just make sure to stay the hell out of the way. You know, I'm not trying to ruin the race.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah, dude, I'm with you, mate. As soon as I see them, if I'm in a multi-class, I'm moving my butt left. I don't care where they are.
And if I'm coming up on the, you know, like, you know, pro guys coming behind me, I'm like, hey, you're not my class, man. Go right ahead. I'm not trying to fight you, you know, so.
It's just not worth it, is it? I think at the end of the day, and more people should kind of probably have that attitude where it's like, look, you're not in my race, you're not in my class.
Oh, you know, for sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's the thing. I think as long as you battle the people around you, but to be fair, from about lap 20, I don't think you saw anybody in your class again, did you?
Not really, no. It was a seesaw, you know, with the pit stuff, you know. It's like, you know, I'd go in and, you know, they'd be up like 27, 30 seconds. Then finally when I come in, then I'll be up by like 30, 36 seconds or something like that. And like, I was just glad that at the end I had enough fuel. If I would have had to do a splash of fuel, I probably would have been, I would have lost the race probably.
Well done, fella. Congratulations on your win and a great day for Dark Thunder there as well. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go, buddy?
Hey, you guys make this fun. For all my friends, they watch the stream. They love your commentary. CMS, and of course, number one person in my life, my girl. So she allows me to do this stuff. So I really appreciate it.
See, another man who knows where his bed is at as well. If you don't thank the missus, you end up on the sofa. We ain't stupid, Alex, are we?
Nope.
No, dude. No, definitely not as well. So well done, dude. And congratulations. Look forward to seeing you next time out.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. Have a nice weekend.
And you, man.
All right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a absolutely interesting race here as well. Alan Holden had a power loss. Was the message I've just had given in my ear. Tom, final words from you, buddy. What do you think of that?
Loved it all the way through. Brilliant driving from the field and a close finish towards the end, in particular the Hypercar Pro class. And long may it continue to the next round of the championship. We've still got quite a number of races to go before the season finishes, before the new year's out. Sao Paulo, yes, your favourite, James. The 90 minutes of Sao Paulo on the 19th of July.
Cannot wait for that one. Mr. Ross Smith, final words from you, dear sir.
I have to say, I was a little disappointed that we didn't get the rain that looked like it was going to be coming our way earlier in the week, because I think that could have really added a splash of drama that would have just spiced everything up. With Ben Kesby running the all-wheel drive in the position he was in coming to the end, that could have made things really fun and interesting. Watching Daniel Hurlock coming through, I know he's really good in the wet. So, there could have been all kinds of changes coming through there, depending on how he managed to hook up. Same thing with Suvik and Dahlgren, who managed to put on a pretty good show, even though they kind of lacked some of the pace that those top guys had. I do feel bad for some of those drivers further down the field, Katarinakis, Reyes, Ducati. Santo had a bad time. Tom called Stephen Miller, and it looked like he was going to be taking the win in the AMS for GT, and then he just had that unfortunate spin and could just never get back up there, handing the win back over to Alexander McQuarrie. Busink, he showed really strong pace in the Lamborghini. Unfortunately, I just saw a note that their team for the Team Rookie Monsters, they'll be switching to the Aston Martin. So unfortunately, turning a little bit more into a spec series on that side. So shame to see that, but they just want a car that's going to be more conducive to their driving style, I guess. But overall, great race. We had a lot of really fun moments. There wasn't really any downtime during the whole thing. So taking that to Sao Paulo, where hopefully we'll see quite a few more drivers coming back, like for the for Daniel Hurlock's team members. Hopefully we get to see some of those, like Mike Bell coming in and really making a big show of that track for the first time coming back to it in a while.
Yeah, well, I've got to be honest, Ross. I love Sao Paulo, and I'm looking forward to it as well. Join us on the 19th of July, 90 minutes of Sao Paulo. And then we go to 30th of August, 90 minutes of Coda, 100 laps of Indy on the 12th of September with 90 minutes of Fuji on the 27th, 100 laps of Road Atlanta on the 25th, and then 2 hours of Bahrain on the 15th of November, wrapping this up as well. Don't forget to join us next weekend for the historic race at Monza. Now, Ross, that's going to be fun, isn't it?
Oh man, it's going to be full of excitement. I can't wait to see those Group C cars going around on that thing, especially with the turn one curbing. We haven't run those chicanes in a while, so yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, well, join us next time out, guys, as well. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody in YouTube chat who's been having some fun as well throughout this one. I've been JP. I've been alongside Tom Cairns. I've had Mr. Ross Smith around me, and the man conducting the cameras in the back there is Mr. Paul Glover. But as always, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.